Hey, we're live. I love it.
And now we're going to cut to the intro. What's up, guys? That was the coolest thing I've ever done. So it's all downhill from here. Welcome back. I am, of course, CJ. I'm here with Josh. And
Another year.
We're in
awards.
that's actually a window in hell. No. But it is January. But another year, another awards. Very, very exciting for us. 2016, just a massive year. Everything comic related. I mean, comic movies. We got to see Batman and Superman on screen together. Very first time. No matter how you feel about the movie, an incredible, impressive accomplishment. Definitely lots of comic television. Cage got a TV show. If you could travel back in time to the 90s and tell somebody Cage was going to have a TV show, they probably wouldn't have believed it.
They'd be like,
Luke Cage.
That's what they do. It's awesome. I mean, especially because they pulled it off
such a great way.
Great way, yeah, because the show, all Netflix shows well received, but that one in particular
was took it to a whole other level.
They really embraced the culture of and
yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that show specifically a little bit later on in this show. But in the movies themselves, television shows, and even comics. I mean, we got Civil War II, which was hit or miss for a lot of people. DC Rebirth, DC Comics had really kind of I don't want to say like a complete relaunch, kind of a soft relaunch of all of their titles to great, really wild success. Such a great accomplishment for them to be able to basically reinvent themselves there.
Don't call it a comeback. It was basically
there was nowhere for them to come back from, but it was really good either way. We've got a great show for you this evening. We have just so much lined up. I am so incredibly excited. We've got some special guests, as you saw in the intro, that are going to be handing out some awards. We're going to be handing out some of our 50K giveaways. Very excited about that. Of course, we're already at 55K, so we'll be doing another giveaway. We'll be doing some more stuff a little bit later on down the road. But really, just thank you for joining us again this evening. It's going to be great. We're going to wrap up a bunch of basically wrap up the year, start the new year off right. And what better way to start off this award show than one of those 50K giveaways?
Yes.
So Josh is in charge of those for this evening.
Yes. So do you want me to go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right,
Do your thing.
The first out of five. This is in no particular order whatsoever. But it is Mr. Jeffrey Vasquez.
Jeffrey Vasquez. What's funny is we should have remembered what exactly you won for Mr. Vasquez. If you're watching, you won the first giveaway. And we're going to be messaging you, figuring out how we can, of course, a refresher of what you'll get if you win one of these giveaways is you'll win a comic movie of your choice and an exclusive Hybrid Network t-shirt. Literally nobody outside the Hybrid Network has these t-shirts. You wore them around NYCC if you saw us there, or saw some of our pictures, or maybe Michael's blog. So Mr. Vasquez, congrats, you're going to be the first person with a Hybrid Network t-shirt that does not work for the Hybrid Network. So now down to the awards. And in our first award, we're going to actually start off on the comic book side. We're going to start off in the pages of the comic books themselves. Talk about some comic artists. Like we talked about, great art, great ton of good books this year. But let's go ahead and check out the nominees. That's Tim. You're going to be seeing Tim in a little bit. Tim is actually not what we were cutting to. This is what happens when CJ forgets what his prompts are. Wow. Just an incredible lineup. Honestly, this is probably one of the toughest categories to choose from, I think. You've got guys like perennial powerhouse like Jason Fabok.
He did a fantastic job.
Mikael Yanen, one of my personal favorite artists there. John Boyd Myers, just that unique style. His is really interesting because they look very kind of, I want to say like chibi-esque. They've got definitely like youthful kind of look to them, but at the same time they look super real. Like it's done very well.
I mean, for me, Jason Fabok. Not saying he's my favorite, but when they really stuck out to me is before with the Justice League characters, when he stepped into the art of Justice League, he put an incredible amount of detail.
Oh yeah. And that's kind of like the mark of all those great artists, the amount of detail they work. Yanen, Ross,
really give culture. Like his Wonder Woman, for example, really well revered because of kind of the very Roman inspired culture put into her outfit. So. All in all, great artists. Very impressed. No love Dells this year, thank God. At least none of
True. So we actually do have some technical difficulties. The winner of that first category is David Marquez. Yes, David Marquez from of course, Civil War II. And that's a little bit of a controversial pick, but as I think we kind of stressed in the beginning here, we didn't. These are chosen by you guys. So it's crazy because you look back, even though that's hit or miss, a lot of that had more to do writing than anything else, and his art was really a really good get there.
I mean, if anything, had a greater chance to stand out just due to how meh the writing was. So
yeah. It really did shine in a lot of places, as you saw in that brief clip in the slideshow. And now we're going to go off and find Tim this time for real. But first, let's look at the nominees for the category he's presenting: Best Comic Book Writer.
Yes.
And now, to present the award, of course, our very own Tim. Tim, you're free. You're free from Skype jail. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well right now. How you guys feeling tonight?
We're doing well. We're very excited. Hopefully this doesn't cause too much of an echo. I understand there was a little bit earlier, but I think that was on our end. Hopefully this isn't disrupting anything because your audio is pretty low on our end. Please let us know. We've got kind of Michael and the gang messaging us back on Facebook trying to tell us to fix our shit.
I'll be the test one. I'm the one least people want to see anyway.
There you go. You are the major. That's why we had to put you so early. Because we knew you were going to bring the people in.
Tim, how's it feel to be on your first, not podcast, but your first award show?
It's definitely interesting.
it's been interesting
talking about it. Yeah, I know you guys did all this prep work to get into it. Those slides were really awesome. Just saw them in the live stream there.
Thank you, man.
I mean, it's all CJ. He did basically all the prep work for this. So.
I have only been working like crazy for the last
every year.
Thank you. This is actually, I said it in the video a couple of days ago. This is my favorite video we do every year, just because it's really, we don't do a lot of live streams, and it's great to interact with all of you guys live. And of course, this year we have basically something we wanted to do in the very first year. We wanted to get people to call in live on Skype, and this is the first year we've been able to do that.
Yeah, it's awesome, honestly.
It's fantastic. So Tim, you're a pioneer. You're blazing the trail. There you go. All right. So, best comic book writer. This was a tough category. A really a lot of competition. What are your thoughts, just generally, on the category and the quality of kind of the comic book writing in 2016?
Well, I can't say that I read from everyone on this list, but I definitely know the reputation of most of them. Very much everyone's gotten praise for their different runs. You have Peter Tomasi, who has a Superman run that's brought in people who weren't even fans of Superman. G. Willow Wilson still going on with Miss Marvel, big fan favorite character. Jeff Lemire, his Moon Knight run has been, especially in our community, has been really well received. Obviously, I love Benjamin Percy. I've been reading 2 of his series with Teen Titans and Green Arrow. I feel that those are 2 really strong ongoings. And then, of course, we have Tom King, with his Vision run that I know you love, CJ.
Oh,
People are loving his Batman run.
He's one of my favorites, and Vision is really so great. And we'll talk about it a little bit because the next category is best comic book limited series or miniseries. But his Vision is, quite frankly, without a doubt, one of the best comic books I've ever read. I highly recommend you check it out. I'm showing my bias here. Tom King, please give me money.
Can't blame you. I mean, Vision was also the only character in a long time that was, explicitly set in not only Virginia but Northern Virginia.
Yeah, he's from where we're from, and that's not the only reason I like it, though. But it's one of them. So, Tim, who won this category?
Well, this one was pretty definitive with 37.2% of the vote. The next closest being a little over 22%. Tom King was the best writer of the year.
Yes! Victory!
Some may say that the votes were skewed.
I did not influence this election. I promise you I did not hack in and tamper.
I know that I didn't because the person I nominated came in last.
Yay! But he made it into the final vote, which is more than some people can say. Thank you, Tim. Hope you enjoy the rest of the live stream, man.
I'm sure that I will. Good luck with the rest of it, guys.
See you, dude.
See you, Tim.
Oh, now we got to switch back over. Can you tell we don't live stream much? But no, really, thanks to Tim. I really didn't realize until we started talking to him that is literally the first time we've had somebody Skype in on one of these.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time we've had anybody do outside messages on these. But I remember, do you remember? So this is, a lot of people might not know, this is the 4th year we've done this.
It's been a few.
This is the 4th year we've done this, and I remember the first year we had all these plans. We were going to have people call in, and it really did not work out that way because I think if any of you remember Will on that first live stream, if any of you have been around for a while, Will, we were like, let's try and see if we can get somebody to call in, and Will was sitting there in the back like no, not with the, you haven't paid for a good software.
There's some fun sibling banter.
There always is. He was actually really upset with me after that. But because we basically blamed the entire thing on him. But we've got another comic book category here. Best comic book limited series, miniseries, or event. Now, this is a broad category, no doubt. Partially by design. We really didn't want to have 3 separate categories for these, and so we kind of lumped them all into one. And as you'll see with the nominees, you probably get a pretty good indication of who's going to win.
Yeah.
All right, but let's take a look. Do you know who won just from that?
I mean,
it's not who I wanted to win.
I mean, it's not knocking at your front door, but it's in your window.
That's basically It's really the. Looking back, it was unfair to group that in with everything else.
I mean.
So if you can't tell, the winner in a landslide, I want to say it was above 60% of the vote in a category with 3 nominees. That'll do it. But it won in a landslide. DC Rebirth as the best event of the year. And it's one of those things where I say, it's not who I wanted to win because, of course, I love Vision. And I'm just going to sing its praises to everybody that I meet. But if it had to be somebody else, DC Rebirth is incredible.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, DC Rebirth didn't win. The fans won.
There you go.
Because we got back Wally West. Like the Wally West we all grew up with because we know that they introduced a new Wally West. We got that back. We've gotten a pretty decent Titan series out of it.
Oh, yeah.
We've gotten a really cool plot line, a kind of mystery story so far. It's really pushed the Superman titles, some of the Batman stuff a little bit, Titans, all that stuff. A lot of cool things have come out of this. So I'm pretty happy.
What I'm really surprised by is the fact that if any of you guys were following kind of our content on the channel, we know we've gotten 35,000 new subscribers in this year alone.
Yeah.
So a lot of you weren't there at the beginning of this year. Literally most of you weren't there at the beginning of this year. But we were reporting on these DC Rebirth leaks that were coming out in January and March about what DC Rebirth was going to be. And we knew the Watchmen were going to be involved. That's been confirmed now. But from those leaks, we knew the Watchmen were going to be involved. And somehow, it still kept me interested. Like, now that we know that hasn't been officially revealed in the comics, but somehow, even though this twist was telegraphed, it was announced, way before by leaks, they've written it in such an interesting way that it has kept me on the edge of my seat and kept me reading.
I mean, one thing I really like is that it's been kind of presented as a mystery story, not really as just straight bad guy fight action whatever. It's very much a mystery story that's being developed, and there's kind of a slow burn to it. And I remember before Watchmen kind of set this up too, and shout outs to Nick on the channel. He a very big DC fan. He was very active and very kind of pursuing the crumbs of this before it really kind of came to fruition.
And it really,
it's really cool. I mean, I think originally people thought it would be called Hyper Crisis or something.
I can't remember that,
and
but
then
when they started tweeting out the images with the curtains and Rebirth and stuff like that. But no, I mean, we've gotten some really great series out of it, and that kind of leads us in right into our next category, Best Comic Book Ongoing Series. And so, really, without further ado, let's take a look. Some great nominees there. Really, it was an incredibly tough nomination process. So our process was we have a group. Basically, everyone on the channel got to nominate as many people for as many people in the category as they felt deserving.
Yes.
And then we also opened the nomination up to several other prominent YouTubers who submitted their nominations, and from that, basically my rule was it's got to be nominated at least twice, and then we'll go in descending order of who's got the most nominations. This was such a tough category because part of it's a great thing and it's a terrible thing about the comic industry nowadays is there's always something to read. There's a title out there for everyone. And so because of that, we got some great books left off of this category, which really was a damn shame. Detective Comics, probably the biggest omission. The Titans books, really kind of really close there as well.
No Exo Manowar.
That was Josh's.
Guys,
I got to tell you, Josh, that was a distant last.
I mean,
that was not close. But without further ado, and I've got something to say after we announce the winner. Without further ado, the winner for Best Comic Book Ongoing Series was The Flash from Joshua Williamson. The Flash. Not really surprising, I think, piggybacking on the popularity of the TV show. You reintroduce Wally West. He's had a lot to do with Rebirth so far because it seems like the Speed Force is somehow involved and tied in there. Not really surprising, but the story behind this one is that came down to literally one vote.
Wow.
It was a tie until last night. Josh pulled the poll down yesterday midday. Somebody managed to sneak in and vote one more time. I'm not sure how. They must have bookmarked it. Somebody managed to sneak in and vote one more time and broke the tie between The Flash and Peter Tomasi's Superman. So The Flash actually ended up winning by a very, very close margin.
That's surprising. I mean, there's so many great books. I mean, Marvel's side, they had the Black Panther series, the new one, which is very political book, but it's still very well written, I would say.
Absolutely.
And then the Ultimates was on here. That's been a very great book for the Marvel Cosmic Universe, I would say. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those cases where there's really no loser per se because they're all great books, and it's just the people have spoken kind of thing.
Exactly. That's the best part of these awards is we'll set them up, we nominate them, but it's you guys that really get to decide.
Yeah.
And now that wraps it up for the comic book category. We're going to move into a very special mini category, comic book video games. We've only got one award to give out here, Best Comic Book Video Game, and we actually have a special guest to help us do it, but we'll get to that in just a second. Josh, do you want to do our second giveaway now?
Yes. So our second giveaway, and this guy, he had an interesting comment, really caught my eye, fit the criteria of what we were looking for. His name is Mr. Jeff Grant.
Jeff Grant, congrats.
So, congratulations.
You've won the second of our giveaway, you are the second person ever to receive a Hybrid Network shirt outside of the channel. A great honor, I'm sure. But you also will get the comic book movie of your choice in Blu-ray or DVD. And the shirt can be signed. I didn't mention this before. If you would rather the shirt have our signatures, we can do that. If you would rather just have a clean shirt that you can wear, you can have a clean shirt that you can wear.
Most people actually said they wanted the signs,
which is crazy.
I was pretty surprised.
So we'll sign it for you.
I mean, also you have the option, if you'd like us to, we could like just sign something.
Yeah.
Like, sign like a picture of us or something.
We can sign the DVD that we had no involvement in making. Yeah. That would be fantastic. I'd do that like I was a famous person, but it'd be great. Right?
Make us feel famous.
There you go. Make me feel famous. But now let's get down to the nominees for Best Comic Book Video Game. And as we announced, we actually have a special guest here to help us present the award. Well, not actually here, in my computer. No, and that is, of course, our good friend Caboose XBL.
Yes.
So we're going to see if we can, can get this queued up here.
On YouTube, if you've been following a lot of the comic book video game side of things, my coverage on Injustice 2, and of course the latest rumored Batman Arkham game, and my time covering Batman Arkham Origins and Batman Arkham Knight. I do a lot of stuff that's comic book related, so you can check out my channel if you haven't already. Now, it seems fitting with my time in covering all these video games related to comic books that I present to you the best comic book video game of 2016. And without further ado, the winner is Batman the Telltale series. This is definitely no shocker or no surprise to anyone. This game was easily the best comic book video game of 2016, and hell, might even be the best video game in general in 2016. Thank you very much for having me, everyone, and I'll see you guys later.
That was Caboose XBL, everybody. Thanks for presenting the award. Of course, Batman the Telltale series, really, as he said, one of the best video games of the year. Not just the best comic book video game, but it was kind of a light year for the comic book video game category, wasn't it?
But I feel like it would definitely kind of bounce back in regards to the weight of comic book video games. I mean, on Marvel's side, they have the new Spider-Man game. We don't know too much about that still, but that's in the pipeline. There's the new Marvel versus Capcom. And on DC, obviously, Injustice 2.
Injustice 2. They've got a new Batman game coming out at some point. Probably not in 2017, maybe 2018.
And then technically, Telltale's making a Guardians of the Galaxy game, too. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they made another Batman Telltale.
It's going to be a much more competitive game.
Yes.
Or a much more competitive category next year, I can promise you that. Or potentially probably in the 2019 Comic Book Awards, too. But that wraps it up for the video game category. And so that is actually going to bring us to our third 50K giveaway.
Yes, so our third giveaway winner is a Mr. Jake Walter.
Jake Walter. I recognize that name. He's been around for a little bit.
Yeah, he comments frequently.
He does. I really wish that we had remembered what they'd won for, because we had 5 different categories people submitted comments for. Josh went through them today. And just know, Jake, you are the third person with the incredible honor of getting a Hybrid Network shirt.
Yes, congratulations.
Signed or not signed. Yeah. So that brings us to comic book television, and it was a huge year in comic book TV. Absolutely massive. Really, when you think about it, maybe one of the biggest years in history, but I feel like given the nature of kind of the fact that we're in this comic book golden age, it's always going to be, until we start the decline, which we haven't yet, thankfully. But I mean, think about it. This year we had season 3 of The Flash, season 5 of Arrow, season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Ghost Rider, the first time Ghost Rider has technically appeared in the MCU. The Supergirl came to the CW. Legends of Tomorrow aired earlier this year, and then got their second season this year. And of course, we had Daredevil season 2 and Luke Cage's first season. And the year coming up is even brighter with like Iron Fist. It's just going to be an incredible year.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely echo everything CJ just said. And on top of that, I mean, we got a bunch of mini-series for the shows. And honestly, I'm really looking forward. I mean, this was definitely a great year for comic book television. There's really no complaints.
Absolutely, no complaints at all.
Preacher too.
Preacher as well. Preacher was fantastic. We can't forget that, and we actually do have some people that are going to be nominated.
People that are going to preach.
People that are going to preach. But no. So on a comic book television, this was a tough and a close year, but we do have some more special guests lined up to help us figure out who won the small screen in 2017. This is the part of the show where we remind you, this is, in our opinion, it's a really unique award show because it's part Oscars, part Video Game Awards, part Emmys, and also part Razzies. We have some worst of categories. And we might drop them for next year, but we do have, because there was a little controversy this year, but we do have some worst of awards to give out. And we're going to start actually with the worst actress in comic book television. We have some nominees here. We're going to play the clip, and we'll find out who takes home the crown as the undisputed worst. That's a tough category.
I mean, I'm just surprised. So the past few years, Willa Holland of Arrow fame has won the worst television comic book actress.
I think she actually won it the first 2 years in a row.
Yes.
And then the third year, somebody else won it, if you remember.
Felicity.
She did. She might get the back-to-back, the two-parter. She might get the two-peat.
The two-peat.
Like she and Willa
Arrow
are buddies,
and
they'll be friends in the two-peat. It's like they're the Bill Belichick's of winning worst comic book television actress, as it just happens repeatedly. So, without further ado, the winner for worst comic book TV actress 2017, Emily Bett Rickards, Felicity Smoke from Arrow.
Sorry, I'm so excited. It's just if you watch the last season of Arrow, you would understand.
This was not a close.
I still haven't watched I remember I made that video and I said I would not watch the new season of Arrow until it was over, and everyone agreed it was a really good season to kind of make up for the past few seasons being lackluster. And I've been keeping by that. So,
which is good. Stand by your word.
Yes.
I'm not shocked.
She needs a town.
What's crazy is I've heard season 5 has provided maybe a little more interesting features for the character, but
that's good.
I have not been watching. Let's just say that. Now on to another dubious honor, worst comic book television actor. And this is another tough category. We've got some nominees here, as you'll soon see. So, without further ado, let's just roll the clip. This was one of our more controversial categories, as you can see. But once again, we nominated him. You vote for him. That is.
I mean, the interesting thing is, as much as Wally on the show isn't presented the best acting wise, he's gotten some more personality as time goes on.
And that's what I'll be interested to see. I don't think he'll be on this category next year.
Have you heard the actor in real life though? He has a very strong accent.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that really plays into his acting.
No, I was just
too
much.
If
you've heard it,
no, I haven't. I do think I would be really, really shocked if he's on this list next year, just because he's kind of had more to do this season. He's finally Kid Flash.
I feel like they've really kept a lot of his personality, so to speak, away until he became Kid Flash.
Yeah, which is good. I think that's the way they should have done it. That's the way they've handled it. And so, like I said, he's on this list, but he won't be there next year. Another couple of people. Stephen Amell on there got a lot of criticism in the comments when we first revealed the poll. But once again, it's not just us that are sitting here and saying, okay, we hate this. We had some people that were Arrow fans nominating, and believe it or not, he was almost unanimously in this vote. Season 4 was not the savior that a lot of people thought it was going to be. But without further ado, the winner of Worst Comic Book Television Actor is Arthur Darvill, Rip Hunter from Legends of Tomorrow.
I feel kind of bad for him.
He
didn't get that much, comparatively to everybody else, that much screen time. I feel like he was the easiest kind of to get on.
Which sucks is I feel like some of it is the writing of the character. Really,
Yes.
I do like the actor a lot. I liked him when he was on Doctor Who. I think it really has more to do with how the character has been used, and hopefully he comes back eventually, and we'll be able to get to see more of the character, and he's not just done.
I heard he's coming back in an upcoming episode.
He is, which is good. And so now we actually get into some. That's it for the bad ones. I promise. We'll put the brakes on there. We're going to get into some good ones now. This category is Best Comic Book Television Actress. Another really tough. This is one of our toughest categories, and I feel like we say that for almost every other category. But this one was really, really difficult to choose from. It was difficult for me personally to vote. So without further ado, I'm just going to play the clip. So there you go. A really tough category from top to bottom. I mean, starting at the top, Melissa Benoist, who has been great as Supergirl. Rosario Dawson, kind of the connective tissue of the Netflix series. Yes. Rose McIver, really a standout over on iZombie, which is pretty criminally underrated. You've got Ruth Negga on Preacher. She is just an incredible actress, not just to the small screen or in that show in particular, just all around.
Yeah, she had a great big screen movie.
Love it. Filmed in Virginia, yeah. Simone Missick, really fantastic as Misty Knight in Luke Cage. As that show is just great top to bottom. So we're really a tough category, you know? Just really, really tough to choose anybody.
I did not vote in this category because I couldn't really choose.
Couldn't choose.
Who I would pick, honestly.
Which is good because we're not going to be the ones announcing this. We actually have a special guest to help us here. So, without further ado,
give it to them.
What's going on?
To the Hybrid Network, I'm here to actually present an award, but first a little bit about me. I'm a YouTuber just like, well, obviously the Hybrid Network, as well as the Comic Book Cast. I'm in junction with them, and I do lots of different stuff. Primarily, if you check me out on all the social networks, the Twitter, the Instagram, and Facebook, you see I also do a lot with costumes and cosplay, so definitely check it out if that's something you are into. But the award, I get actually the pleasure of being able to do the Best TV Comic Book Actress, and it's awesome because it's somebody I've recently cosplayed, and I absolutely love this show. I do reviews on it all the time. It is for Melissa Benoist as Supergirl. Did I say that in the last name right? Benoist? Maybe. That's it. Okay. If you guys actually follow my page, you will realize I'm really bad at names, especially when it comes to the actual actors and actresses. I think there's only one person I ever get correct. But anyways, it is for Melissa Benoist. She's amazing. I absolutely loved her as Supergirl, and I love the series. So, yeah, you go, girl. So, yeah. Bye, guys.
It got stuck. Nothing. Thank you so much, Shay, for presenting that award. We honestly just could not hear anything that was going on there, kind of hilariously. It was just watching the screen and a lot of
movements
mimicking. But thank you so much, Shay. Of course, Supergirl, Melissa Benoist wins the category in a very tough race. It was actually, she just narrowly edged out, I want to say, Rosario Dawson. Was the next closest.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
I mean, she's been killing it. I don't think you have a show like Supergirl as good as it is if she's not the one in the cape.
When you're the title character, I mean, especially with how great that show kicked off this season on the CW, I mean, they could have really fell flat, but they really, kind of went up and away, pun intended.
Absolutely, and just kind of. I was going to say picked it up and ran with it, but really just kind of flew, just took off. Yeah. And especially on the CW now, I feel like with the introduction of Superman, the show has just kind of evolved. It's gotten a lot better. Now we move on to our next category, Best Comic Book Television Actor. Another really tough category with all the, how the Netflix shows have picked up, and then of course what's going on the CW can't be discounted or looked over either. So let's actually go ahead and check out the nominees for that. I was not lying. That's an incredibly difficult category.
That's hard.
It's tough.
That's really hard to choose.
Oh my god! I mean, so you see, we've got some representatives from Daredevil season 2, Charlie Cox and John Bernthal, Mahershala Ali representing Luke Cage. Really, in my opinion, probably pound for pound the best CBTV performance of the year. But I'm not revealing anything. Just in my personal opinion, a fantastic actor. And Tom Ellis from Lucifer. Getting a little run.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching bits and pieces of Lucifer.
It's really
as it airs,
it's better than a lot of people really, I think, know. It's really good.
It's not a bad show.
It is really not. I personally enjoy it very, very much.
He's definitely very he has a very charming, seductive kind of way he goes about playing the character, which I mean obviously kind of fits.
Absolutely, so. And that's another show that's not what it is without the star.
Exactly.
Grant Gustin, of course, there can't be discounted either as the Flash, just incredible. Really one of the highlights of that series as well. And actually, we have another special guest back to back to help us present this one. Our very, very good friend here on the channel, one of our oldest friends really in YouTube in general, and that is Armin from Comic Book Cast.
With the guys here at the Hybrid Network since we both began, and they just actually passed 50,000 subscribers, so shout out to that to you guys first. Obviously I'm here to present award on Best Actor or Supporting Actor. See, this is how I do shit at the CBC. I don't know what I'm doing, but we point the camera and I just do my shit, so that's what you're come to expect. So as always, you guys can check out I'll put a thing down here, but it's just type in Comic Book Cast on the YouTube thing, assuming YouTube is working and you can see this, or something else is happening. It's probably not working, because YouTube, right? Anyway, it's John Bernthal as the Punisher, because he's the best. He really is the best. I mean, you can look at his scene, right, in Daredevil Season 2, the one where he's on the grave, and he's, like, crying, and you're like, yeah, that's the shit right there. So, like, there's like 3 terrible Punisher movies. There's one terrible one with Dolph Lundgren where he's naked in the sewers. Don't watch that one. There's one with Tom Jane, which is pretty good. And then there's one with Ray Stevenson, who's Volstagg. That one's really good too. So those are like balanced. But there was never been a good Punisher. And John Bernthal was like, bitch, I'm gonna be the best Punisher. So he was. So he gets the award.
Armin there, of course, getting very, very animated and actually kind of breaking down the history of the Punisher in comic book media. Of course, talking about the original movies, giving us a little background there. If you haven't seen them, I say watch them. But
Dirty Laundry too, include that.
Dirty Laundry is the second best Punisher performance ever, right behind John Bernthal's, which of course won Comic Book TV Actor of the Year. Congratulations, Mr. Bernthal. Fellow Redskins fan, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use this term often because I think it's usually a very overused term, but he was a revelation as
really,
the Punisher.
Absolutely.
He really owned that role. I think, especially when they adapted the rooftop scene, that was very
so well done. So well
acted,
done.
But just he really carried that scene.
That and the scene in the cemetery are probably the 2 best scenes in the show. But really, just anytime he was on screen, he stole it. He really elevated that show to an entirely different level, and it's a well-deserved award, to be quite frank. Now we're going to go into one of our other worst categories, one of our worst dubious honors, and that is worst comic book television show. Another tough category. There's going to be some people that agree with some of these. There's going to be some people that disagree. So let's go ahead and check out the nominees. And when I say a tough category, Josh actually looked over at me and mouthed, wow, when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came up. And
I thought they did a good job with Ghost Rider.
This is why, I think this is more about the back half of Season 3 more than it is the front half of Season 4. But this was, again, heavily nominated. This is probably why we're going to stop doing like the worst of categories, just because there's this innate desire when you're nominating, like somebody's got to get that nomination.
Yeah.
And it's like when you compare it to things like, you know, Daredevil or Luke Cage or even, you know, The Flash, maybe it doesn't really stack up quite as well. And that's kind of why those are there. I feel like why those at least nominees that are just heavily disagreed upon are there in the first place.
Yeah, I can see it. You know what? I definitely could see the back half of season 3 kind of being more responsible for that. Because everyone seemed pretty excited. But without further ado, I'll let you...
announce the winner?
Yeah.
And the winner is Gotham. Probably shocking
to no one.
Literally 0 people. It's gotten better. I will give it that. It's just still, to me, quite frankly, just about unwatchable. And I don't mean any disrespect to the tons of people that like Gotham out there. It's just kind of like what I said. It's like... It's just when you compare it to the quality of some of the other things that are on, even just in its own genre, but I will give you, it's gotten much better since season 1. Any thoughts on Gotham there, Josh?
I mean, the only thing I have to say is they definitely do a very interesting take on the Batman mythos, even if I don't agree with the take they do on the Gotham and Batman mythos.
True. And I agree with that. I think that's probably the nicest thing you could have said. Moving on to our final category our final award to be given out in the category of television, the best comic book television show. Once again, a really, really tough race this year. Very, very competitive, very, very close. Lots of great nominees. So without further ado, let's check them out. I think that got cut short. We're going to run it again. Technical difficulties are technically difficult, and so we're actually going to try that one more time.
No true words there.
There we go.
Everyone thought there was only one nomination.
Everyone thought there was one nominee. There's more than one. There we go. Like I said, an incredibly tough category. Who do you choose from that bunch? Lots of great options. And this is actually one of our closest votes. We talked about how Flash and Superman, the comic book best ongoing, was decided by literally one vote. This was just technically a little bit wider than that, because by a margin of 2 votes, the winner is Daredevil Season 2. Really, not a super surprising choice.
Not for lack of trying.
But really, the person it didn't beat Luke Cage, it didn't beat Supergirl, it actually beat The Flash by 2 votes. The Flash was right there.
I'm not surprised.
Neither am I. I think, it's really just I don't want to say it's come into its own, but it's definitely its own thing, and it just embraces that, I think.
I feel the way The Flash really not only adapted, but the way the cast really performed season 1 was so well done. It really had a large innate sense of goodwill all around. And it was one of those cases where instead of them having to continuously build up and up and up and be better, it was more so they just had to not kind of screw up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's fantastic.
I think Daredevil is definitely the same kind of way because the bar was so high. It's like people don't really want you to go up necessarily because it's really hard to go up from there. It's just kind of don't go down that much.
Exactly, and I think it's definitely did not do that with the inclusion of the Punisher. Such an interesting story point that really dominated season 2. Really, really fantastic. Luke Cage kind of got dogged in this category. I thought it was going to do a lot better.
I'm not surprised.
It did not. I think it was in third, but it was a really distant third to The Flash and, of course, Daredevil, who won the category.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for comic book television. But moving on to the next session, of course, the comic book movies themselves. And we are, Josh, without a doubt, in the Renaissance, the golden age of comic book movies. We've come a long way. I think if you really sit down and look in the mirror and think about it, it's like really debating like who's best and like what's the best, like all that. It's like just think back to like 2004 and the kind of quality of comic book movie we were getting in like 2004.
I'd say late 90s. Look at the 90s. The 90s were a dark time for comics and movies because we had the Captain America versus Italian Red Skull.
Exactly. That was fantastic. The Fantastic Four straight to DVD.
Yeah.
It's like just 20 years ago, we were getting absolute garbage. No offense to Shaq.
Yeah, sorry, Shaq. You killed all of us, but Steel was garbage.
But it's really just fantastic. The where we are now, like it seems like a lot of time and a lot of effort has been put into making these movies. Yes. First and foremost, good movies. Sometimes for certain directors, that's making sure the story flows, making sure it's enjoyable for the audience. Very or fun for the audience, and sometimes that's using the movie as a platform to really, explore like the boundaries of what a comic book movie can be. And this year basically gave us the entire range. There was nut shots, Jesus imagery. There was
Excalibur.
People getting horrible back injuries. Excalibur, basically, an allegory for Excalibur, was on screen. It's really just incredible times that we live in. Very strange times. I don't think we could have predicted. But we're glad that we're here.
And next year is even better, it looks like.
First time Marvel has 3 movies coming out in 1 year. DC has Wonder Woman and Justice League. On top of that, I don't think we have a Fox movie next year. New Mutants comes out in early 2018, I think.
I'm not too sure, but I mean...
We're Foxless.
When did you think you would say you're excited for not a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but a Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah, did you ever think... That's kind of one of those where it's like we're getting a straight-to-DVD adaptation of Guardians of the Galaxy, but no, like we're getting this huge actual film.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp starts filming. It's like, who would have thought we would have gotten one of those like 20 years ago?
On the head when he said we're in the golden age.
Golden age.
I'm just lucky I was born at the right time to enjoy it.
And this was, in our 4 years of doing this was by far and away some of the closest races. Some of them not, but it was kind of, for me personally, voting for these was very, very difficult. It was hard to choose which ones I liked more than others in most cases. But before we really get into the category, Josh, let's give away our 4th giveaway.
Okay, well, our 4th giveaway, and this is a kind of interesting one, is he's been a very vocal component to our comment section for quite some time.
My dude.
And without further adu, it is Waru.
Waru! Our dude.
Congratulations, Waru.
Waru, you the best.
If we only had one person to watch any video ever...
If we had to bet, we had to bet on which person would be watching a video, it's Waru. And now he owns a t-shirt. And a comic book movie of his choice.
Yes.
Now, moving on to the next category is our first category in the category of comic book movies. Best comic book movie score or soundtrack. And this is, we've got a special friend to help us present this award.
Yes.
But we've got the nominees. Bear with me here. I think this is also another one that's really kind of not going to be at the beginning here. But without further ado, let's check it out. We're actually going to go one more time since I'm cut off the first nominee. So let's try this one more time. Well, it's going to make me go back to the live camera. The one flaw of this program is it's not letting me restart when I want to. But
neighbor.
Basically.
first time or something, and
our audio's been out for the last 30 seconds, so we've just been sitting here miming. We were doing the end of the newscast thing where it's like...
yeah.
No, but so we were actually we had this deep and meaningful conversation about life and the universe and everything, and how...
the heavens opened.
It was crazy. I mean, you should have seen that, but you didn't. It was an auditory thing.
I saw the Logan trailer.
Really, basically what we were saying was... the fact that this was a tough category, and it's a category that not a lot of people think of, and that is best comic book movie score and soundtrack.
Yes.
You don't know it. Soundtrack is one of the most important things you can have in a movie, because music changes everything. Music can change basically it can change an entire scene. Whether it's Darth Vader's Imperial March or the Bee Gees. Would definitely shake that right up. And we actually have another special guest here to help us present this category. So without further ado, let's see what he's got to say.
Score in the year of 2016 in comic book film. Now, I for one thought this was an amazing year for all soundtracks and scores in the year of 2016 in comic book film, with some great scores coming out of this year. But nonetheless, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, scored by Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer, emerged victorious and rose to the top very quickly in a landslide victory. Now back to you guys.
Give us a little blue steel at the end there. We're going to run that back one more time just in case some of you missed what he said.
Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slick or Slickmoff here from youtube.com/Slickmoff, here to announce the winner of Best Soundtrack or Score in the year of 2016 in comic book film. Now, I for one thought this was an amazing year for all soundtracks and scores in the year of 2016 in comic book film, with some great scores coming out this year. But nonetheless, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, scored by Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer, emerged victorious and rose to the top very quickly in a landslide victory. Now back to you guys.
Thank you very much to Slickmoff. Josh was just saying that's the first time he's ever seen Slick, but really very, very receptive. I knew when we kind of thought of the idea of having special guest presenters, Slickmoff doing this category was the very first thing I thought of, because he is a big fan of scoring and soundtracks, and this is by far and away one of his favorites, and it was just kind of fate that the winner, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice's score from Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL, happened to be the one that won.
That was a very strong soundtrack.
It was incredible.
I mean, when it first came out.
What really kills me is the fact that I don't like Jesse Eisenberg's take on Lex Luthor. I love his theme. His theme is incredible. I listen to it a lot. It's one of those things I lift to it. No, but
when you look at yourself in the mirror and just like, how evil will I be today?
Exactly. How much will I scheme? So thank you very much to Slickmoff again for presenting that award, Best Comic Book Movie Score. No matter how you felt about the movie, I feel like that kind of was going to be the winner of this category. And it was not actually even really that close. So, anyways, moving on to our next category. The dubious honors have returned, and we're going to start off with Worst Comic Book Movie Actress. Now, this is a little bit of a tough category. Not solely because we had a lot of great performances this year, but we really did. We only had 2 nominees for this category that you could vote for, and we got a little story after that. But let's show you who the nominees are. Josh is doing his best hula hooping Cara Delevingne impression for a good reason. So here's the thing. I generally like Jennifer Lawrence, but I did not nominate her for this category. She was nominated by like everybody but me.
I nominated Enchantress because honestly, like, it's one of like the other day on the discussion when we were debating like the DC and Marvel movies, I forgot Suicide Squad existed.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to erase it from my mind that much. But the one thing I remembered was how much I didn't like Enchantress.
I mean, it's one of those things where, as you'll see, the movie just had incredible performances, and there's no denying that. It's just
incredibly.
It just couldn't. But no. So the winner, of course, is Cara Delevingne, and this was, I say, of course, this was our closest vote. Flash and Superman comic book one was decided by one vote.
Yeah.
We had the comic book television actor was decided by 2 votes. This one was, or comic book television show was decided, it was actor was decided by 2 votes.
Actor was 2.
This one was decided by 0 votes. And so we decided to settle it in the most scientific way possible, the most scientific way at hand, extrapolating several complex sets of variables and analyzing it, running it through a computer program, and then we just flipped a coin, and that said Cara Delevingne won the dubious honor of worst comic book movie performance by an actress.
Yeah. Taylor Swift, don't kill us. We know she's in your group.
She's in the clique.
Yeah.
It's okay. She's going to get a song written about her. Now we move on to another great category, worst comic book movie actor. This is a tough one, and we actually have a special friend here to help us decide.
Yes.
So let's go down and check out the nominees for that first. Without further ado, here are the nominees for worst comic book movie actor. This was so tough for me to decide, but it was not tough for the people to decide. This was not a close race, but without further ado, let's check in with one of our buddies, our good friend from the Super Friends podcast, another one of our own here on the channel.
And the Hybrid Movies podcast.
This is our boy, DC Luke. How are you, buddy? Doing good, dude? Yeah. We cannot hear you for some reason. Why can't we hear you? It's going off the rails.
There we go.
So it was on you and not us.
Yeah,
you tried to make it about us.
For once.
I cucked you guys this time.
There you go.
But,
and somewhere Luke is just steamed up about that. Still the greatest moment in podcasting history. How you doing today, bud?
I am doing great, actually. I've been watching y'all's little award show. It's cute. Y'all got all dressed up. We got a little fire in the background.
We did get dressed
adorable.
up. We do have a fire in the background.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. Thank you, buddy.
I just got a blank white wall. I don't have a green screen.
It's okay. We'll bring the fire to you. But for calling our podcast cute, where it's not even a podcast. I'm on like 6 hours of sleep for the last 3 days trying to put this thing together. But so forgive me all the technical difficulties. But Luke, this is a tough category, but you embraced it. I asked you which one you wanted to present, and you chose this one, I think, basically within seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't even give you options. You chose this out of like
if there's a worst category, I told CJ, I want it. I don't care what it is. I just want to crush someone's spirit.
What a trooper.
So what do you think of the nominees?
Well, we had a lot of good ones. Had a lot of I should say we had a lot of bad ones.
There you go. That's what makes it a worst category.
The one that I personally voted for sadly didn't make it. I guess he didn't honka his way into everything. But I guess it's good to know that someone deserving got this, and
yep.
People, I guess they love that ding, 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 ding ringing throughout because Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, Batman v Superman, the worst comic book movie actor.
This year at least.
This year at least.
Although he's appearing in Justice League.
I was about to say, next year he has potential next year.
He's appearing in Justice League as well.
We'll see if the bald head will help.
Hopefully. Man. Oh, my God.
He ties with Felicity Lady.
There you go. He ties. That's her name. I'm not even referring to her by name anymore. It's just Felicity Lady.
The one that nukes.
The one that nukes. Any more thoughts on the category or the rest of the awards?
Really, just from what you described, it was a landslide. And I guess that's just the power of acting too hard at something.
I want to know who to blame for it, because if it's like they gave Eisenberg free run with the script to do kind of what he wanted with the character, if he was involved very early on because he was cast very early on, I want to know if he was really the one that took the lead in workshopping that approach for the character, or if it was an executive decision. But I have not been told either way.
Well,
I guess we'll never know.
In my mind, I feel like it's an Eisenberg thing, because whenever I play, like, let's say I use Bryan Cranston's voice and demeanor with the same lines, it comes off a lot more like menacing, and it comes off a lot more like I wouldn't mind it kind of thing.
Well, I see this because a lot of people were like, "Oh, why didn't Joaquin Phoenix take this role? Why didn't Bryan Cranston take this role?"
Now you know.
It might have just been because like this is what they were looking for, and they asked him. It's like, what we're gonna have, Lex Luthor be like neurotic.
Yeah, Cranston said they never asked him,
which is
psychotic, which is a 7-syllable word for those with little to no mind.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, thank you so much, Luke, for presenting this award. Hope you enjoy the rest of the live stream. Hopefully, we leave the mics on.
Yeah. We'll honka you later.
We will honka you later, bud.
I suggest it does that sound.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.
All right, see ya.
All right, that was our very own DC Luke from the Super Friends podcast and our DCEU videos every week. Hopefully, you agree. I'm just shocked that you guys chose Eisenberg. Really, out of the options. I mean, I honestly figured it was going to be Leto.
I thought it would be Leto too.
But Leto kind of got the pass in the fact that he wasn't in a 3-hour movie, and he didn't really have that many, or he did have so many scenes cut.
Yes.
Although even though they released the Ultimate Edition of Suicide Squad, it was like 30 seconds of new Joker footage or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It was not. I feel like it was more. It was a couple of minutes, but there were still a lot of scenes that just were not there, so to speak.
Doomsday wasn't on there. Or what?
Kind of hard for him to be in there.
What is called Doomsday?
What is called the Ninja Turtle?
It's kind of like Prince, formerly known as...
Yeah, the artist formerly known as Doomsday. Yeah. It's the name of this award show. But getting down to some more comic book movie categories, we're through the worst. We have one more worst category left in the show, but all we've got to worry about now is the best. It's literally majority best from here on out. And we're moving right on to Best Comic Book Movie Supporting Actress. Now, this was another tough role.
Yes.
Another tough nomination process. Some great performances from women in comic books this year.
They're on the come up.
They are. I mean, they really are. And we've got some great nominees here. So without further ado, we're going to roll the clip. So there you have it, a really, really tough category from top to bottom, starting with Amy Adams, moving on to Brianna Hildebrand, really, really great in Deadpool in kind of a limited role. Elizabeth Olsen, also fantastic. Viola Davey, Nick, I got it in for you. She absolutely did kill it. And that's why this one was so tough to decide, but the winner is Viola Davis by a pretty wide margin.
I'm not surprised. I think, say what you want about the interpretations of the various characters on the Suicide Squad movie, hers is pretty spot on. I mean, she was the Wall, essentially.
She was the Wall. And she really... I feel like that's another thing. That's like one of the most disappointing things about Suicide Squad to me was that it's with so many great performances, it just really, really did not live up to them. It's like somehow it couldn't make something out of those parts. From Will Smith really delivered a great performance. Margot Robbie, Viola Davey, Nick, I'm sorry. Some really, really great performances throughout, but still just couldn't quite crack the code, I guess. Moving on to our next category, still in the supporting phase, Best Comic Book Movie Supporting Actor. This is another one, like another tough race. Some great performances here, and we're actually going to have a special guest break down who won. But first, let's check out who the nominees were. And for that, I've got to figure out which clip it was. I feel like it was this one. Let's find out. All right, as you can see, a very, very tough category there. Very, very competitive.
Yes.
Starting off with, Chadwick Boseman right at the top, of a fantastic performance as Prince T'Challa, then King T'Challa, then the Black Panther, and just working your way down the line. Chiwetel Ejiofor as Baron Mordo. Really one of my personal favorite performances from any actor in any movie this year. Guys like T.J. Miller from Deadpool in kind of a true supporting role were there.
He was a very big surprise. I didn't expect much.
Yeah, no, and he was really, really a highlight of the movie for me. We're going to try and get our special guest up here in just a moment. Bear with us, some more technical difficulties. Let's try one more time and see if we can reach him.
Yeah. In the comments, though, while you guys are watching this, let us know who you guys obviously think should win it.
Absolutely.
Feel free to engage.
Hello.
Here we go. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the Marvel Luke. Luke, can you hear us, buddy?
Yeah, I can. I don't know what happened. I think Skype failed me a couple of times.
I think we had a call drop, but it's all good. It's all good in the hood. And we actually have a pretty great category here for you to present. So what are your thoughts just on the category in general?
Well, first I have to shout out to Lurk. I want to apologize publicly. Sorry for cucking you on that podcast, bruh.
There you go. You're just reminding people of it now. We reminded them of it too, but oh well.
So so this is a pretty tough category. I mean, there was a lot of great supporting actors all throughout the year. I don't know. I guess I'll just go ahead and present who won.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so without further ado, guys, we actually have in a landslide
a huge one,
Mr. Chadwick Boseman himself.
T'Challa, the Black Panther.
The Black Panther.
Oh, yes.
Has won in a landslide. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense. I feel like Marvel Studios really hit that character. Like they just hit it out of the park, man. It was fantastic.
They did do a really good job with it. I 100% agree. It's really, I didn't ever think that I would be this excited for a Black Panther movie. I absolutely am. Black Panther is without a doubt one of my most anticipated Marvel films of the next couple of years. And it's largely because of, well, not only Chadwick Boseman, he's the major part of it, but then you look at the cast they've surrounded him with and the director as well.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler. He reportedly wrote the lines of Black Panther,
really?
Dialogue in Civil War.
That's crazy. I believe it. So he definitely deserves this award. Congrats to Chadwick. Thank you for presenting, Luke.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I was just gonna say real quick. I mean, it's literally like they scoured the entire earth to find the actual T'Challa, and they found him.
Oh, that's high praise. High praise, and I actually agree with it.
I'm serious. He was one of my favorite roles of this entire year. So
I agree with you.
I definitely think that Mr. Boseman deserves it.
I mean, he's
more than anybody,
actor.
Honestly.
He killed it playing Jackie Robinson. Killed it playing James Brown.
Yeah, definitely.
What's funny is I almost want to call him a character actor, but he's just a really good one. It's it's not the traditional definition of that, but he just basically kills every role he's in.
Yeah.
He just really steps in, and it's such a wide variety too. But thank you so much, Luke, for stopping by, and we'll see you later on the Marvelette. All right?
All right. Yeah, no problem. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you again to Marvel Luke for stepping in, coming in to basically present that award all by himself. Really, really great job done. Damn. It was a landslide. I don't know if he had the exact figures to say it, but I think he won with over 50% of the vote. And in a category where you've got 5 nominees, winning anything with over 50% of the vote is pretty much unheard of.
That says everything you need to know right there. Honestly.
Exactly. And it's really fantastic. I am so glad that he won that award. But it was so tough to choose because, you had guys like Jeremy Irons, guys like T.J. Miller. It was really, really not an easy one to pick from. But moving on to our next category, the Best Comic Book Movie Actress. And this was another one where it was really tough. We had performances from really huge names like Margot Robbie, Tilda Swinton, Scarlett Johansson. Really a great race between Gal Gadot, made her kind of comic book movie debut as Wonder Woman, and then of course her performance was one of the real highlights for me, and that landed her squarely in this category. Any thoughts on the category, Josh?
I will say, while watching Doctor Strange, I didn't know what to expect from Tilda Swinton, mostly because she was playing the ancient one, who usually is a male. So I didn't know how they were going to pursue it, and honestly, I was really surprised. I mean, she's a fantastic actress, and when I remember watching her on We Need to Talk About Kevin, fantastic movie. She killed it in that movie, and from watching that, I had some high hopes, and I'm happy to say I think they were met. She really approached the character very well. And I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a certain scene between her and Strange. It was very heartwarming and
absolutely,
it was very sweet.
Really an incredible scene. One of the best in any comic book movie this year. But without further ado, let's take a look at the nominees.
Feels like she's about to shank something. Could be my wife. Fun fact.
Don't make me mute you. Really, such a tough category to choose from. I can't remember. Actually, I do remember who I voted for, but it was so hard to choose. And this one was another one that was not close. Do you remember who you voted for, Josh?
Yes, actually, I voted for Tilda Swinton.
As did I. We are both going to be disappointed, though. But not really, because my second choice did win this category, and that, of course, is Margot Robbie for her performance as Harley Quinn.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either. She owned the role. I think a lot of really, I personally loved it. I'm not really in the casual audience, but a lot of people in kind of the more casual viewing audience really, really loved her performance in that role, and I can't blame them.
I think it says a lot when a lot of those, like a lot of kids, like especially like young girls and everything, want to dress up as her for Halloween after that movie, and then going to the movie. I know because I worked at the movie theater when the movie came out, and a lot of kids coming to the movie theater were dressed as Harley Quinn.
I think that's an interesting thing
and
that we can say.
And her version of the character too.
An interesting thing that we can, talk about. Whether I don't know if I was going to say appropriate, but I realized that sounded super old. But yeah, I mean, you've owned a character, really, and that's what she did. And so I really have no problems with her winning that. But that leads us right into Best Comic Book Movie Actor. Yes. We're into the prestigious ones now: actress, actor. We're going to do ensemble next with a special guest, worst comic book movie, and then best comic book movie to round it all out. But without further ado, let's check out the nominees for Best Comic Book Actor of 2016. Wow. We've been saying that all night. Wow, what a category. How tough is this? But really, this is one of those, and as the final result will show, we'll talk about that in just a second. This was a close one. Very tough for me to choose personally.
I'm hurt. You're hurt? I'm hurt just thinking about it because, I mean, they all more or less own their roles.
Exactly.
I mean especially people like Deadpool, like Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds just got into that role, owned it.
He even said he just walked off set with the costume on, didn't even take it off. And you have people like Ben Affleck who proved all the naysayers wrong.
Absolutely, Ben Affleck really. I talk about Gal Gadot being a really big highlight of Batman v Superman. Ben Affleck is really the star for me. I mean, his Batman kind of gives us all hope for the DCEU.
He even made it the extended cut rated R, I believe, with that shower scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But then also we got folks like Robert Downey Jr., who's been Tony Stark for the last 9 years almost.
He's up there with like Hugh Jackman as like,
you are this character. Not necessarily. I mean, I was going to say not necessarily because you look like the character from the comics or you act, but he really does look like the character from the comics. And in his own life, his backstory is very similar to Tony Stark. He lived that.
Besides the whole shrapnel.
Yeah, exactly. And then Chris Evans, of course, always very, very good as Captain Steve Rogers.
I think he was one of the biggest surprises.
Oh, yeah.
Not for this category, but just in general for a character being portrayed by an actor. I think he was one of the biggest surprises, just how well it turned out.
Absolutely. And that's one of those things where this is so hard to choose, but without further ado, the winner for Best Comic Book Movie Actor of 2016 is Ben Affleck by literally 1.6% of the vote. He narrowly edged out Ryan Reynolds. Reynolds was winning for most of the week. Affleck got a late surge, and Affleck took the crown. You can't be mad at that. I
voted for Reynolds.
I voted for Reynolds as well. Affleck, though, it was like one of those things where it's a close second. I mean, I can't blame people for voting for him. I really, in fact, more power to you. It was an excellent performance and really deserved this award.
He has the chin to play Batman.
He does, and that's like the best thing you can say of anybody. It's like you've got the chin. You can
have
be
the chin to wear that cowl.
You have the chin for the cowl. Moving on to our next category, Best Comic Book Movie Ensemble, Best Ensemble. And we actually do have a special guest to present this one as well. But first, let's take a look at the nominees. If I can find out what clip it is. Aha, I think I've discovered it. So, without further ado, here we go. Let's go ahead and actually watch that one again. I'm told that we cut off a little bit at the beginning. So without further ado, here are the nominees for Best Comic Book Movie Ensemble once more.
Yes.
Again, this job is only going to get harder as time goes on, and especially as we kind of work our way up into this category.
As they release more in the future also.
And as the quality just keeps improving, this is incredible. You can make an argument legitimately for a movie that's nominated for Worst Movie of the Year, Worst Comic Movie of the Year, to win Best Ensemble. And you can do that in two cases on this list. It's really, it's a little hint for you, a little spoiler alert. But here to present the winner for Best Comic Book Movie Ensemble is our buddy, Failwell34, Michael himself.
I hope you're enjoying it. As well, thanks to CJ and Josh for actually inviting me to announce an award. It's actually kind of cool. I haven't done this before. Do I look or sound familiar? It's because I actually work on the channel doing the podcast, and Super Science are coming back to home. And I also have my own channel. If you guys want, you can check that out. Links probably in the description or somewhere. Anyway, back to you. Ouch. Okay, guys, so the winner for the Best Ensemble Cast of 2016 goes to Captain America Civil War. Congrats to all of the nominees, and thank you all for voting. So Captain America takes the cake for the Best Ensemble of 2016, and that is the winner. Thanks so much, guys. Now back to you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for presenting that award. As he said, the winner of the category is Captain America Civil War. And this is... It was so tough. I don't want to say it's like cheating to put all those people into a Captain America movie, but let's be honest, it was kind of cheating.
It was basically like Avengers, but
Avengers 2.5.
Avengers.
It was what Avengers 2 should have been. I'll openly say that as somebody that didn't hate Avengers 2. It was really just so tough, like as a category. But I mean, you look, it's like Batman v Superman has rocking Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Amy Adams, Lawrence Fishburne, Jeremy Irons. Yeah. But Civil War kind of comes back with Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Don Cheadle, Anthony Mackie, all these great, even William Hurt.
And they add Tom Holland to it too.
You add in Tom Holland and Chadwick Boseman's
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, exactly. It's just kind of...
It is kind of cheating.
They go toe for toe, but it's one of those... It's like, this was supposed to be Captain America 3. It was supposed to be Captain America... It wasn't supposed to have all these people in it.
Sebastian Stan.
How could we forget young Mark Hamill?
Yeah. I mean, the dude's a great actor. He really did a good job, especially in Winter Soldier 2.
Absolutely. I mean, and then, Suicide Squad. No slouch either with Joel Kinnaman, Margot Robbie, Will Smith, Jay Hernandez, Karen Fukuhara... Viola Davey, a lot of people on that cast. Really, Jai Courtney in the best role of his career. Really, Cara Delevingne was in there as well. Just a really, really great, a great cast there as well. Doctor Strange. I'm not going to read through everybody, but damn, that was a cast. Oh my god,
Doctor Strange was pretty. I think up to next to Black Panther, that has to be one of the most stacked. Castings.
And that's one of those
movie.
That's one of those things where it's like as the comic book movie genre grows, kind of in power and esteem, it's like you're going to see even more and more actors like kind of not see them as like, okay, this is going to be like bad for my career. I'm only going to do this if I really need the money. Yeah. You look at Black Panther, like that cast is one of the most incredible.
Crazy, and they're adding more every day to it still.
Absolutely,
as they approach filming.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think it says something like nowadays. You touched upon it. You're like. A lot of actors used to be, you kind of like the superhero movies if you really love the superheroes or if you just need the money.
Exactly.
But nowadays, superhero films and quality have really gone up. And you could probably thank the Nolan films a lot for this also, for really kind of making it less taboo.
Exactly.
But you have a lot of great quality actors. I mean, Matt Nicholson was in a comic movie. Rachel McAdams was in a comic Benedict Cumberbatch was in a comic movie. And I could have sworn there was a quote from years ago where he said he wouldn't do a comic movie.
Exactly. I remember that as well. Oh, so we've lost camera for a second, but trust me, it's gonna be worth it. I hope. But actually, we're gonna come back over here. I guess though we should. That's a sign from God that we should move on to our next category, our second to last category, and that is worst comic book movie of the year. There's another tough one, another close one. You know what? I'm gonna say now. We're gonna drop the worst categories next year when we do this because it's so hard to like look back and say it's like, okay, this was like the worst. When it's like really arguably, it's like you go back to any other decade, like in the 2000s, neither of these would be on a worst list. Go back to the 90s, definitely these might have been on the best list.
I mean, yeah.
But so let me, without further ado, try and pull up this clip here, if I can, of worst comic book movie of the year, and it is not wanting to let me do this, but here we go.
There we go.
So there you have it. I know, Josh, I put theatrical cut specifically.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like,
You'll notice why in our next category, but it's really the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman left me a little flabbergasted, and for Suicide Squad as well, I was just kind of astounded. But like I said, it's hard to really be overly critical about these movies. Of course, we went in with high expectations for both, and unfortunately we were disappointed, but I just kind of preach you've got to take a step back and like look at the big picture and realize it's like even if they were bad, they were not like the worst comic movies that have been made. There have been worse. It's kind of hard. I honestly feel like we're a little bit spoiled in this day and age.
We are, and I think it's worth. I mean, yeah, like what you said, like we are definitely spoiled. Like not only in quantity of comic movies nowadays, but quality also. We've gotten some really good comic movies in the past. I mean, I mentioned Nolan movies, quite a while ago, and we got the Nolan movies, for example. Those, I think,
exactly. Those are some of the best. You could argue that those really kind of made us those were really the first to make us expect more from the genre than just kind of an action movie that had a superhero in it. Some might argue it's Spider-Man 2, but I really think it was the Nolan movies that kind of elevated it to that next level, that next step, that next kind of platform. But without further ado, the winner of the dubious distinction of being Hybrid Network's worst comic book movie of the year for 2016, as voted for by you guys, was Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut.
So no honka honkas.
No honka honkas. That's one of those things. Is that movie got?
Ping, ping, ding, ding, ding.
If it wasn't for Margot Robbie, that would have been swept out of Viola Davis one as well. I should say.
I mean,
but that would have been completely swept out.
It's unfortunate because I feel like so obviously the actual cut's on here. The extended cut's a lot better.
Oh yeah,
for sure. At least in my opinion, it's a lot better.
No, I think it elevated it to another level. I really do.
It took a lot of their shock and awe away too.
It did.
In the trailer, they did their Doomsday reveal. Like if they saved that for the movie, that probably would have gone over.
Would have been a little crazier. I feel like because we had months to critique it, leading up to the movie. But that
from excitement into
exactly, and that was an important decision. The distinction that we made on the theatrical cut, as you'll see in the next category. But before we move on to that next category, do we want to do our last giveaway? A last 50K giveaway. It's been a while since we did one. We kind of stacked them. We front-loaded them.
The last, but not forgotten.
Oh, yes. Very important one.
So our last winner is, his username is Kieran99344.
Kieran, if you're watching, congrats. You are now the 5th person outside of the Hybrid Network to own a Hybrid Network t-shirt.
Yes. So, awesome. Congrats, everybody that won.
Absolutely.
And it's the first time doing a multi-person giveaway of this magnitude.
It's really one of those things where, we're not giving it away. We're not giving stuff away to bring more people in. And you can tell by the questions, if you just came in randomly, you probably wouldn't have been able to answer them. Waru pointed out that you could have just gone to oldest videos and figured out what the first video was.
The first video is gone.
That's true. That's true.
Because you redid it.
But that's actually 100% true.
Yeah.
But we do this because we like interacting with you guys, and we honestly wouldn't be anywhere near where we are if it wasn't for having such really dedicated viewers like you. It's kind of that's one of the things that makes me the happiest about where we are now is that finally seeing people like our stuff enough to watch just about every video, and that's something that I didn't ever really think we would, get to. We had some people that we were fortunate to have some people like that from the very beginning, but just having so many of you guys just means so much to us. And we hope you guys enjoy the t-shirts. We might start selling them. We don't know. We got to get enough of them to sell them.
I remember the Janser days. It was just
Janser, our boy Janser.
He's actually the one who got me in the X-O Manowar. Exactly.
Fact. There you go. And
he made me jollier than the Santa.
Yeah, there's the little cameo from Santa.
Yeah,
in the background.
He is real, boys and girls.
He is. He's dropping in. He's going to present the last. No, he's not going to present the last award.
Just comes down the chimney.
Ho ho
chimney
ho.
Off the screen.
Why did Batman v Superman win worst movie?
It's Liam Neeson too.
That would be great. That would be fantastic. Ask him what happened with Phantom Menace.
The most threatening and shaped Santa Claus.
Good God. All right, but on to our last category: best comic book movie, the granddaddy of them all, the big one.
Yes.
The best. And this is, again, I think this is probably tougher than any other year. We have so many great nominees, but let's, without further ado, go ahead and take a look. Again, just an incredibly tough category, and I think the winner will actually surprise some people. Well, it won't surprise the people that voted, probably because they know who they voted for.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But it was a landslide.
Yeah, it was another
landslide I didn't expect. and it had some ramifications, which we'll talk about after this.
The person I voted for didn't win, so
exactly. There, Josh gets to know. The winner of Best Comic Book Movie of 2016, as voted for by you guys, is Captain America Civil War. Yes, Captain America Civil War beating out Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, Doctor Strange, and Deadpool, which I think many people probably felt like was the odds-on favorite.
And Exo Manowar beat Exo Man.
It did, but oh my god, it beat the Exo Manowar. No, when I say landslide, it was not close. It was like they had 25% more than any of the other people, and that's a lot of votes. And so, damn. But congrats to Captain America: Civil War, very well deserved. Just a fun afternoon of the movies.
Yeah,
it really was.
I had a blast. I mean, because if you looked for kind of a thought-provoking, story, it was there. If you wanted.
Oh yeah, it was there.
Great performances were there if you wanted it. Setting up for future was there if you wanted it. But also, you could just relax and kind of escape. Have a good time.
Absolutely, so. And that's kind of what Marvel has been doing for years. I think people will say. So now, actually, before we end, because I think we ran through that a little bit quicker than we expected. Let's go ahead and let's see what y'all are up to. Let's see what y'all are getting into while we're.
Let's see what these comments are saying.
See what these comments are saying. Live streams.
Da, da, da.
You like how Luke is the thumbnail? Oh no.
That's great. Yes. Oh, so now if you're watching it,
like how Luke is the thumbnail,
especially.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's get into some comments here because we're actually going to do another award. We're going to do another award live right now. We want to see what your most what was your choice for most anticipated comic book movie of 2017. Now, this did not get put into the poll on accident. On accident, it was an accident when I was putting together the poll from the nominations. We were supposed to do most anticipated comic book movie of 2017, and it did not make it in there. So let us know what your most anticipated movie of comic book, or your most anticipated comic book movie of 2017 is. Can you tell I have no sleep? Hashtag Ask Hybrid Awards. We'll chat up for a little bit. We'll hang out here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What do you guys think of the show? Other than the horrible technical difficulties,
they're probably like, "Why are you guys yellow?"
Will the Damian Wayne Batman game be caped Kino? It will be caped Kino. Cape Video Kino.
Oh, Wario, I'm glad to see you here.
Thomas, what's up, Thomas? How you doing? Wonder Woman is one of my most anticipated. Why you guys plead? Thank you, Nick. We pleb. I'm actually probably looking forward to. It's a toss-up between Logan and Thor Ragnarok. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people aren't really on the Ragnarok train, but man, I'm really close.
I'm skeptically optimistic. That makes sense.
Michael, get out of here. Dunkirk is not. I mean, just because Nolan's doing it.
I mean, I'm pretty excited for Justice League, just because it could either be a beautiful mess or it could be a beautiful success.
That's true. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Curtis Blow. Good God.
I'm really excited for Black Panther also, though.
Me too.
Just because of the cast, and the writing, and the director. Yeah, basically all of it.
Waru, we might talk about that on Super Friends. I can't promise anything, but we definitely will. Alien Covenant hype? ? Yes.
Yes.
Eggplant Man, what did you say? Because I appreciate this activity. I like to think that this was my choice. Oh,
I'm tempted
good God.
To go all the way to the top.
Yeah, I really want to go through. You guys look like you're a part of Kingsman. Just the really shitty part of Kingsman.
Yeah.
We're the janitors. We're the Kingsman janitors.
Like when they killed everybody at that table, they really had to search for new members.
Exactly. We're the bottom of the barrel.
We're temporary refs.
We are.
We're like the temporary refs that one NFL season.
We're the Statesmen. That's correct. We're the shitty American spinoff.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Jessica Cruz? Generally positive.
Yeah.
I really do. I like Green Lanterns, the book. It's really been, I would say, hit or miss at times, but I've really liked the central cast.
I like the Phantom Lantern arc they did recently. One thing about Jessica Cruz though I didn't like how they were trying to push her with the Flash for a while, because they did that and then they just abandoned it.
True.
Like right
then and there.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. wish if they were going to do it, they would have just committed to it. But I don't know. I like how her character bounced off Simon Baz. Actually, that's been one of the highlights of their book. Boys.
Kinlan, Melissa Benoist won Best Comic Book Television Actress.
Stroke that eggplant.
Can you guys do a discussion on Marvel's legacy characters? We can. I actually think we did one back in the day.
We did actually.
Who's your favorite hybrid member?
Who put that?
Josh, and Josh's favorite is me. No,
I mean that would.
I love you all. I really do. Even though that sounded super disingenuous there, I'm so sorry. I love you all. Yeah, new podcast, Hybrid Movies. Check it out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about
6 p.m.
all things
Eastern.
relating to movies and such. Will says, "Good answer." I think Nick is definitely one of the best hybrid members. Slick, yes. What's up, dude?
Hey, nice to see you here.
Vape Lord is Lucal. You better be watching this. People are saying. I mean, that's Tim, yeah, but people are still saying. But yeah, everybody, if Slick Muff is in the comment section, thank you so much, Slick, for presenting that award. It's really
crap.
It was kind of fate, I guess, that it was BVS that won it, right? But
what will the comment section for the discussion episode on SoundCloud be like? I mean, it's on SoundCloud now, so you could listen to it and let me know.
Mucky best hybrid member. Who the hell is Mucky? That's like the thing is like we say these things in our podcasts and in live streams that people just don't get because like we have memes in our Facebook chat. Lord Vapor, yes. Oh, yeah.
Did you want to scroll up there and see what people say?
I would, dude. We'd get like trapped. We'd get buried.
I know. I mean, we'll go. I'm sure we'll go back after it's all said and done. Definitely look over them and.
Yeah, we definitely will. I'm gonna have fun watching this. Actually, I'm not because of the technical difficulties. I'm gonna be.
I mean, I'm not. I'll watch the category things again just because we didn't get to listen to them.
Disciple of Fear. We're probably gonna open up the nominations a little bit more this year. Last year it was just channel members. This year it was channel members and select kind of other YouTubers. I think we were close to them. We're going to open up the nominations even a little bit more and try and get a wider pool to pull from. But it was voted for by you people.
I like Waru's question.
No electoral college here, that's true. Waru says, are you excited for X-Men Blue and Gold?
Kind of. Because I kind of dig the team premises, but I'm not really digging the names they're giving the books because I feel like it's kind of setting them up for failure a little bit.
True. Is that fire real, and why does Nick have no cam? The fire is absolutely real. And
Nick is really Ryan Gosling.
He's Johnny Sins, actually. Next award show, were you expanding content like to include like Alien or Transformers or Power Rangers? It really depends. I'm not sure how we'll like open it up a little bit farther. We might just lump them in and say like they could fit into like our best movies category and our best actor.
We'll probably have a nice like pop culture section.
Exactly, we could do that as well, like an ancillary thing. CJ, are you going to see Spider-Man: Homecoming? Of course, I'm probably going to go see it on a Thursday at like 7 or midnight with this guy because I've seen most comic book movies that have come out with this guy.
I like Maru's question. If you watch the upcoming episode of the discussion going up this week, Will and Marvel Luke are actually both on it, and I have to debate against them. So, being the master debater I am, I pride myself in being able to give the D on the discussion. So, but that's just after long hours of practicing with CJ with the verses. So,
yeah, exactly. We had the discussion originally, and I think that's the thing. Doing something like comic book versus set us up pretty well for like the podcast that we do, because we can talk for a long time. And the other podcasters hate it. Superhuman Claws. I think Comic Book Mania is a good name. I like that a lot. Wins the D whenever you want, babe.
Who said that?
Tim. Techie's just a side grade stream. Thank you, man. Wow, 3 a.m. Thank you for tuning in Britain. Wow. I guess that's got to be...
I don't know what the time's like, but...
Thank you for watching, man. Yeah, we had some technical... this is the streaming software I used last year. This year it was a little more complex with the clips. It wasn't just like lower thirds like it's been the last couple of years. So we had some issues a lot of the time where we had some issues with where the clips didn't restart like I figured they would. I might need to look into doing that. But yeah, we might have to look into that for next year. But we got a whole year to prepare, which is what I said last year. Is Hybrid Network going to SDCC? Maybe if they open up their press finally. What's the next con Hybrid Network's going to? I'm personally going to be trying to go to Toronto Comic Con in March. You can join if you want. Me and Mike are going to go hang out. We're going to really just get into some crazy shit. Thomas is also a fan of Exo Man of War.
Yeah, awesome.
You, another one of the army.
I know, right?
Web Slinger, CJ had news about Thor Ragnarok. They just revealed a new logo. I don't know if you saw that. It was on the back of like a cast and crew shirt with some cool Steve Kirby art.
Get to the chopper.
It's crazy. I didn't think they would do another logo, but they did. I really like it. It's great. Any news on it? I'm excited for it.
Thoughts on Star Wars Rebels?
Oh, I love Star Wars.
More, yeah,
Star Wars Rebels is one of my favorite shows. So here's the thing. I don't watch a lot of TV live. I keep up with the comic book TV shows, but I don't watch a lot of other television shows live at all. Star Wars Rebels is like my one exception. I keep up with that every week.
Yeah.
I have not seen this week's episode yet because I was preparing for this, The Fire. But yeah,
The Fire Rises.
I love it. I love Harbinger and Faith. Me too, man. I love Valiant in general. What is your least anticipated comic book video game?
I don't know enough of them that are confirmed to come out to really.
I'll say MVCI because I'm not a big MVCI guy, but I know a lot of people that are. What's the next comic, Nick?
I mean, we'll probably go to NYCC 2017. It's highly probable. I'll say that much.
Absolutely. What are you guys expecting or wanting from the upcoming Iron Fist Netflix show? I want a couple of things. First, I want Shou Lao. I want Kunlun.
I want the dragon.
And I want the suit. Yeah, the dragon, Shou Lao.
Yeah.
I want the suit. Thoughts on Transformers 5 the last night? If everything that's been announced about it or leaked about it turns out to be true, which it looks like it is.
Well, see, I'm optimistic because they have actually really, and I think I mentioned it in the upcoming Transformers topic video, but they got, just for this movie and the sequels onward, they got a writer's room together. So, and the writer's room has a lot of really good writers on it. If you could go check it out. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Thoughts on Nick? I like Nick a lot. He's one of our oldest team members here. Technically the oldest remaining, other than us.
And, it's weird because Nick is extremely vital.
Incredibly. We would definitely not be anywhere near where we are without Nick.
It's so, like...
Shouts out to you, bud.
It was myself, then CJ, then oddly enough, and you may not know this because, I mean, he's more periodic until lately, but Antoine...
Well, he was there for, like, the discussion, and he was there cyclically. I don't want to discount it, but technically he was first, but it's like he...
Yeah. Well, it's like
Nick was the first, like,
it was like,
recurring team member.
Well, what I'm getting to is, like, the Nick, Oscar, Zach...
Yeah.
Like, trio. Because when we went from random guest members on discussion to stable members on discussion, those three came on, they stayed on, and Nick is the only one left off that trio still here. And he's definitely gone from like just being like a podcast member to being now like our senior, like his official title technically would be like senior editor.
Yeah, he's definitely like a vital, integral part of what we do here. Josh, DBS dub review.
No.
Movies I'm excited for this year. I think I'm excited for all those too. Actually, I am. I can say for sure. New Thor logo is a Grandmaster contraption. I had not heard that. That is really cool. Interesting. Have either of us seen the Voltron Netflix show? I have caught one episode in passing. I really have just not gotten the time to watch it.
I'm very busy.
So. I know my stepdad, who's a huge Voltron fan, loved it, or at least I think he loved it. So that's good. It's getting the original fans of the original series. Will Tim Drake get his pre-Flashpoint Red Robin suit back?
Probably not at this point. I think they kind of buried that hatchet when he did come back in Detective Comics, but with a weird version of his Robin outfit. So yeah, I don't think they'll ever go back to that.
Thoughts on Larry? Like the dude from VeggieTales?
No, I think they mean Larry. I don't want to say his last name. I don't want to put him out there. But he reviewed Flash for us for a little bit. He used to be.
Yeah. Okay, that makes me look really bad.
Negative.
Much love, Larry. Any thoughts on The Walking Dead? It's when I watched The Walking Dead up through like season 4, and then I kind of fell out of it, and I started watching again this season with the Negan stuff, but I've fallen out of it again. I really just hope they go to more in line with the comics. I think there's a wealth there that they could explore rather than doing their own thing. But it's one of those things where, creator of the Walk, Robert Kirkman, he's very involved in the show.
Yes,
so it's it's one of those things where, and he talked about it. Me and Michael were there at NYCC. It's one of the things he talked about was, the fact that it's not just some things work better in comic books than they do on television. So I think that was kind of what he meant.
Favorite animes.
Do you have a
favorite anime?
Death Note. Death Note is my favorite anime of all time, and I'm actually pretty excited for the movie that's coming out, even though people are like a little skeeved out on it.
Which one is that again? Is that the one where
It's the Netflix one.
Okay.
No, yeah, they've made 6 Japanese Death Note movies, but this is actually one that's coming to Netflix. And the reason I'm excited for it, have you seen Atlanta?
Yes.
Darius. Lakeith Stanfield is playing. He's playing L. In the show.
I don't know who
I'm so excited for you. Have no idea who that is, but
I have no idea.
It's perfect. Just trust me, it's perfect casting.
That's awesome.
Martha didn't even win an award. If you notice, there were 2 Martha scenes in the awards, and I will give a shirt to the first person that can name which awards they were for.
But CJ, who's Martha?
Who is Martha? When's Martha?
Will Martha die tonight? Damien's my favorite Robin. Who said that?
We are way down here. Yu Yu Hakusho,
that wasn't
really
Mario.
good. Tim, you reviewing Voltron. This has nothing to do with Martha. Voltron was so good. Should be Nick. R.I.P. Ask, when's the Shazam solo book?
Okay,
Josh, when's the Shazam solo book?
All right, so I don't know what they're doing with Shazam because they really set him up as the magic nexus for the Prime DC universe. So basically, they had Dr. Fate in the Earth 2 book be Magic's kind of champion for that universe. And then they had Shazam be Magic's champion for the Prime DC universe. And then it seems like all that New 52 mythology they were building and creating during the early stages in the first group of issues, it's like they abandoned all of that. And now I feel like they don't know what they want to do with Shazam because they took such a different take on the character. I feel like DC wants to go back to the old Captain Marvel version, but they can't at this point. And I feel like it's a combination of Jeff Johns having a lot of pride in his version of the character, and also a huge fact that once they give him a solo book, granted his Darkseid War spinoff was great, I think.
So was his Multiplicity spinoff before that.
Well, I thought a really interesting feature that they could have kept was the whole thing where he could change pantheons. I thought that was a really cool feature. He could change the pantheon of gods, as as neat kind of basis. They could have really worked something interesting with that for a solo series. But to answer why he doesn't have a solo series is because DC is just incapable of making Josh happy.
That's true. You're taking L's from DC on
Tim
all fronts.
Drake,
All
bam.
fronts.
Shazam, bam. I guess that's what I get.
So you're the problem.
I got Wally back, so I guess the price to pay was you lose Shazam.
Have you guys caught up on Arrow Season 5? If so, who do you think Prometheus is? Willa Holland.
I think Prometheus is Tommy, but that's just because that's what I keep seeing.
You basic
on
bitch.
Twitter.
Why is DC pushing Damian Wayne so much? I think it's just because he's got a fan base that can't be denied. It's also just partially because I feel like they just feel like it's he's the natural progression. Like Batman having a son. Now that it's a thing, it's hard to take away.
Yeah.
And they just feel like that's the most natural.
Yeah. Well, I will say this in a complimentary manner. I actually enjoy the current Teen Titans plot. Just because I think having Damian be the Robin in Teen Titans, it's interesting the way they're doing it because there's a lot of backstory with Damian that could really be explored in a team dynamic that we've seen explored with Tim and Dick and even Jason a few times already, but we've never really seen it thoroughly explored with Damian. So I feel like there's a lot of potential there for a good team-up book that maybe we just couldn't get before with other Robin members because it's already been explored for decades now for certain people. So I'll say that much about Damian Wayne in a positive note. But besides that, Damian is... Yeah. Next question, what is it?
What do you guys think is the best comic book Telltale game so far? It was Walking Dead up until Batman the Telltale series ended, and now it's Batman.
The only negative I have is their version of Joker. Just his aesthetic is weird.
That's the one thing I didn't like either. But it's a creative choice that I can forgive them.
They can always fix it later.
That's true. Am I reviewing a series of unfortunate events for the channel? We'll talk about that later. Can Will review the last 2 episodes of Ultimate Spider-Man? Will, do you want to review the last 2 episodes of Ultimate Spider-Man? Why did you say that name? It's his mother's name. Which Robin would you like to see in the DCU and why? Dick Grayson. End of question.
All right, so I would say I would love to see Dick Grayson in a flashback because at this point he's already presumably Nightwing, if anything else. He's either Nightwing or retired. Because I'm pretty sure that rumor of Dick Grayson being killed is gone. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they showed like that was so that was on like a gravestone in the funeral scene, and it turned out to be Superman's funeral.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's gone. Jason, I guess presumably is dead. He'll probably come back as Red Hood if rumors are serving correct. So me personally, I'd love to see Tim. I think it'd be interesting, but due to the fact that they've already kind of resolved the edgier Batman thing at this point, a large part of Tim's backstory and his effect on Batman is kind of taken away. I think in a way that a lot of people would be easy, like it'd be easy for them to pick up. So I think Damien would probably be the next the next step. As hard as that is for me to say.
Did anyone hear Spidey new voice on the teaser for the new Spidey show? I have not.
Yes.
Did you?
We were there. We were there at New York Comic Con where they showed.
Oh, that's right. Who was the voice?
Episode.
Was it?
I don't remember who it is.
I don't think they revealed it.
They did. They didn't say. I don't know if they said the actor's name, but they showed us a clip of the first episode. I remember that. And it had the guy's voice on it. But I will say this much. I don't know how much we didn't sign like a non-disclosure, but I don't want to go spoiling the whole show. But I will say it definitely had, from what we were shown, it definitely had spectacular Spider-Man vibes. And all of us at Hybrid Network, and I think Marvel Luke and Tim was with us also.
Yep.
We all unanimously kind of agreed that we were really looking forward to watching it.
I agree. I am as well. Who would you pick to play Shazam in a live-action film? Alan Richardson.
Yeah, we
Richardson.
tweeted him. He retweeted it. It was a great deal.
We do have like a lot of new subscribers, so they might not know. I honestly think the perfect casting for Shazam in any Shazam movie, like if it could be somebody at their prime, like any actor at their prime, if you could give me just anyone, it would be Patrick Warburton. I feel like that is 100% the answer. Like Patrick Warburton from the Tick days. Hands down the best choice for Shazam, if you could give me anybody.
Looks like Alex Ross Shazam.
I know. Oh, my God. But the issue is he's a little too old now. I think he could still do it. He's just, I think he's past that threshold where he could,
CGI.
You could target him. I feel like, but the thing is, when you look at Alan Richardson from Blue Mountain State, he was the voice of Raphael in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. One, he's built like a truck. And two, he just looks kind of like a young Patrick Warburton if you dye his hair black.
He has a very youthful kind of appearance, too.
He was Aquaman in Smallville, if you remember that. I think he's the guy, and he's kind of got that sense of humor as well.
When I saw the actor play Thad, that's kind of what sold me on him being able to play Shazam. Because I've seen him do more serious roles, but seeing him play Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State really showed me that if he had to get goofy and kind of childlike, he could do it.
Yeah, and I think that very childlike. But I feel like he could definitely, he's really one of the few actors that I feel like could really pull off that role. What do you think they could do with the Flash movies to make them different from the show? That's a really tough question. I'd say focus correct. Yeah, fix your lightning colors. I would say focus more on like the rogues and him being more like I feel like that would actually be a nice contrast in the DCU. Have him be like an everyday street level superhero. That's how you make him different from one, everything else you've got in the DCU, and two, everything we've seen in the show so far. Because it's like we don't really see Barry. Barry seems to just be fighting like the metahuman of the week. It's like I think it would be cool if like in the movie Barry was like actually fighting regular crime.
The rogues, because
DC
TV shows
haven't done the rogues. They've gone through like almost every speedster you can think of.
Yeah, they've teased the rogues. They've shown the members of the rogues, but they've never done the rogues as the rogues.
I'm convinced they created Godspeed in the comics because they were running out of speedsters to do on the TV show. Now that they're doing Savitar, there aren't many left.
Don't jinx it.
But I'm not jinxing anything. We believe enough. Marvel is all connected. Jalen, does that mean we don't believe anymore, or we now believe, or we still believe? But we will answer that. Surprised they haven't explored Batman being a rape victim. Will that be in Snyder's flick?
They never really explored too much. Dick Grayson was also raped by Tarantula one time. Teen
Titans CW show thoughts?
No, please.
I want a Teen Titans movie, and that's why, or a Titans movie, I guess, not Teen Titans, but I also just want the regular Teen Titans show back.
Just listen to the Hybrid Network DC Universe screenplay.
When will Absolute sponsor us when Nick gets on cam with the bottle? What do you think about a source claiming that Justice League is a mess? I usually don't take things like this too seriously, but I don't take them lightly either. I think you've got to look at, if it's just an anonymous source, it could be anybody. It could mean anything, but we've seen just in this last year, anonymous sources can be correct. So what he's saying can't be discounted out of hand. But at the same time, we've got to consider this is just what one person who's anonymous is saying. If it starts to come out from more than one person, then I think we can be a little bit more, worried. But the fact that it's come out from this one person, I will say the fact that it was picked up by, I think, comicbook.com did something on it. It's a little bit more concerning. And I mean, even Henry, like a lot of people are pointing out that Henry Cavill posted like his gift to the Justice League crew, noted how hard the production was, and there are rumors that it was basically like the Justice League 1 and 2 just squished into one movie.
I mean, I bet it was really hard. I mean, I know Joss Whedon, who directed Avengers 1 and 2, and wrote them both also, he said how hard it was making those movies. I mean, especially like just the team element and balancing all those characters, all that stuff. And he had a long history beforehand, both film and TV, of doing team stuff.
Yeah.
And he still had it still was a lot to do. And I know Zack Snyder did Watchmen and everything. You could argue 300 and Sucker Punch, team movies in their own rights. But I think between those two directors, I mean, when they even have a background and they have experience in it and it's still hard, I think that says just how large of a task it is. So I take it with a grain of salt because, I mean, especially with DC movies, there's always that, I feel like at this point there's always going to be a source saying if something's wrong.
Should Damian Wayne get his own video game trilogy?
No.
I'm going to defer to him.
Terry McGinnis should get a Batman Beyond video game. Just do it already.
When is Hybrid Network getting sponsored by Absolute? Nick, you've got to
get on camera
with a bottle. Although we can jokingly maybe sponsor the Movies podcast by Absolute.
I like that question.
If you guys had the option to write a DC Rebirth series, which would you choose? So here's the tough thing: is I would say let me write Nightwing, but Tim Seeley's doing a great job. I'll co-write it. I'll sit there and not do anything and let Tim get some of the credit.
You would do
Shazam.
I would do Shazam or Green Lantern. And all right, so if you actually check out the DC Cinematic Universe we have on our channel, I'm 30 deep, I think. I'm pretty far deep. I've crafted a very well thought out universe. But if you listen to all of them, you'll know I'm a huge for the Green Lantern mythos. I'm a huge fan of the mythos for Green Lantern.
Yeah,
I love it, those mythos, and I'm also a huge Shazam fan too, obviously. But I feel like the Green Lantern mythos could be handled better in the DC comics currently. I mean, they're on an upward trend, but they could still be better.
All right, we're gonna answer the next question. Not next. 1 second. Nick and Jay, we'll get to your question real quick. Why does Cyborg in the DCU look like a Transformer? I shit you not. If you look at that last photo they released yesterday, his junk looks like Megatron. His dick looks like Megatron's face.
Decepticon.
He's a Dicksepticon. Why do you think Barry's lightning is blue in the Justice League film? And Nick asked, why is DCU Flash's lightning color blue? Josh, do you want to talk about this for a minute? Actually, hold on. We're making a video on this. The answer for why it's blue in Justice League is because it looks cool, which Josh is incensed by.
Triggered.
So in the comics, the different colors of lightning they mean something. They're very important. As Josh is now hyperventilating, but
yeah,
and so it's kind of there's a whole mythos to it that seems to be ignored. By the choice to have him have blue lightning.
It's literally the crux of how the Speed Force is visually presented in the Flash comics. That's literally it's... Alright, so we have a video going up this week explaining that, so please check it out, because if I started talking about it, I would go into the comic mythology about it, then I'd go to the actual science about it, the blue and red shifts.
Do you want water?
Yeah, my water bottle is right there, actually.
Alright, I got you.
So, I mean, to lightly touch upon it, basically, someone had recently made a video about it. You can go check it out and everything. We're also going to make a video about it this week, properly going over it and stuff like that, factually and correctly and stuff like that. Thanks, TJ. But basically, it goes from red to white, and there's also black. So red is like the weakest connection, the slowest one, technically. Then yellow is like the normal connection, like the average connection is considered an organic connection to the Speed Force. You have blue, which is a more enhanced connection to the Speed Force. Then you have white, which is the purest. It's the greatest connection to the Speed Force you can have. And Wally West, in his return to New 52, he has that. Presumably because he was trapped in the Speed Force for so long, that direct exposure to it gave him such a pure connection. And then Eobard Thawne New 52 has the Black Lightning, which essentially is the opposite of the White Lightning. We don't know exactly what type of connection it technically is. It's led on to believe it's a form of an artificial connection to the Speed Force due to the fact that the Black Lightning was shown to be intertwined with the Red Lightning, and the Red Lightning is usually like the negative Speed Force, but it's also representative of a weak connection to the Speed Force. So basically, Eobard doesn't have a pure connection to the Speed Force, or a natural connection to the Speed Force like Barry and everybody else does, for the most part. And the white, Speed Force, connection with the Lightning, it allows you to forward the speed of time around you, and opposite, the black Speed Force Lightning allows you to slow down, kind of like Hunter's Element style, allows you to slow down time around you. So it's really cool that white and black Speed Force Lightning has a time manipulation ability, kind of component added to the abilities instead of, basically what we usually see with the Speed Force powers. But the science question is, it's blue and red shifts, so it's how you perceive visible light, depending on how fast they're moving towards and away from you. And it's really a phenomenon that's studied in physics, that you see with like stars and galaxies if you observe them in space. So that's actually what it belongs to. It's objects in space and how they move, on like a vector field or plane, how they move on that plane towards or away from you as they release light and things like that. We'll explain it more in depth in our video this weekend.
Do you guys prefer trade paperbacks or hardcovers? Personally, I like trades. I like a good hardcover too. It's just I have more trades than I do hardcovers.
I have more hardcovers, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I have a lot more collections, and I actually have a really cool Gambit collection.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it goes over like Storm's origin, and it goes over a few cool things. But I also have Spider-Man Blue, which is one of my favorite of all time Spider-Man comics. That, and I have the Master Planner arc, which is my favorite Spider-Man arc of all time. I have those in hardcovers, and yeah.
Waru, add me on Skype. Let's facilitate that connection. Hashtag Ask Hybrid Awards. Are you excited for Super Sons? Absolutely. That's the whole dynamic. Just having pre-Flashpoint Superman back is incredible. Having John be a huge part of that book is really wonderful as well, and it's turning out great. But I honestly feel like Damian as a character is improved by having this foil of John.
You want to know something interesting though, about John?
Go ahead.
So there's actually an interesting time loop DC did. I don't know if they did this intentionally or not, but John actually, when he grows up, gets cloned, and that clone is Con-El in New 52. But John in the future is evil. So it's really interesting. Either John's evil or the clone of John is evil, and then they clone that clone. They made another clone, and that's Con-El. It's kind of convoluted, but I thought it was really interesting how they actually had John be like what Con-El's sample is from, because this is before they brought Lois and Clark, as we know them, into the New 52 universe. So before, people were like, how does Lois and Clark have a son named John that Con-El's sample is from? And they all came full circle. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It's kind of neat that they tied it back in. Thomas asks, any new DC screenplays coming up?
There's 2 technically left.
2 left, just 2.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I could go on, but there's almost no point of going on.
You've basically done, like, sagas for each character.
Yeah, at least every character's had at least a trilogy at this point, besides, like, Martian Manhunter.
Superman's dead and gone. Thoughts on my Green Lantern movie pitch? Nick's Green Lantern pitch was incredible. It was really, really good.
I remember reading it. It's been a while, though. I don't remember the exact details of it.
I enjoyed it a lot. Josh, your Shazam screenplay was great.
Thanks. I took a lot of pride in that one.
J. Roar made a video on Flash Lightning. Yes, he did.
It's garbage.
Oh wow. Okay, let's not get into that. Are you guys excited for Avengers Assemble Season 4? Would you be down for a Thomas Wayne, Jay Garrick, and Alan Scott team-up movie in the DCEU? Yes, because that means in the DCEU we would get Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne.
So would this be like Earth 2 then? Because basically New 52 Earth 2.
Yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, I feel like that'd be cool, kind of cool.
With Alan Scott. I also want to see Alan Scott on the big screen. Just to differentiate the... Oh, God. What if they don't do like an actual... What if they don't actually do like a Green Lantern movie? What if they just do like an Alan Scott Green Lantern movie?
I would not be mad. Kingdom Come Green Lantern was Alan Scott.
That's true, but he was basically like a Green Lantern.
I mean, but
he was chilling. Technically, stop. You know what you're doing. What are your thoughts on Young Justice Season 3 having characters revealed to be gay?
It's already Aqualad. He's gay in the comics. That version.
Really?
That version.
Are they going to make it? Well, they can't because in canon he had a thing for that. They could say he's bisexual, which is fine.
Sorry, I mispronounced. He's actually bi in the comic.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry.
That's what it's going to be.
It's just they revealed that he likes guys.
Having characters be revealed to be gay, I really don't have a problem with it. It's one of those where Cal Duram is the one that you're going to have be gay anyways. Presumably, because he's a new character. It's the safest route they can go. Like, he didn't exist until the show.
I wouldn't be surprised if... See, I don't know if they really did much with Jaime, but if they made Jaime gay, that'd be really interesting because his family in the comics is usually, especially his grandma and stuff, they're really religious.
Yeah.
I think they're Catholic, so, they're, very religious, very conservative family. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But
the answer to Waru's question is that they're going to introduce Bunker in Season 3 with shitty Green Lantern powers.
Bunkers.
Honestly, so here's the thing. It's literally one of the worst comic books I've ever read.
I remember, so one of the first comics we ever reviewed before when the channel was still Hybrid 0027 was Teen Titans, and I used to be very because Tim Drake was on it. I used to be very optimistic, and I'll never forget the one day I was reviewing it, and I was about to give it a 7 out of 10 or something like that, and CJ walks down, looks at what I'm reviewing. And he says,
"Fuck no."
He's no, this is worse. And I think it went to a 4 or 3
because it really deserved it.
I think you were taking Greg Wiseman's quote out of context. Though he didn't say a character was going to come out; he just said a character's already been gay.
Homophobe.
It wasn't a big deal.
It's one of those characters. There are only certain characters they could reveal because they've already revealed some characters to have relationships. Like Wally's dead; he's going to come back, but they can't. He's had a thing for Artemis. I don't even... Did they ever reveal anything for Dick or Tim?
Yeah, in the Injustice comic, or not Injustice, sorry, Young Justice comic, supposedly Zatanna and Grayson.
There you go. So they could change some things, but it's they've already kind of set themselves up into this whole. What beer am I drinking? I actually don't know. I think it's Hoegaarden. It's Hoegaarden. 805 California Brewing, excellent. Beer night. Everybody grab a beer or a cider. Do you guys think that maybe Darkseid is going to be introduced too early in the DCEU? If he just appears in Justice League, that's fine. If he does a cameo, like Thanos, it's like Thanos appearing in Avengers 1. It could be even a bigger, a speaking line. I don't think Marvel had to be such a tease as they were.
They've been really drawing. Wasn't the rumor that Darkseid was Justice League 2?
Yeah, but the hot rumor right now is that they've actually compressed Justice League 2 and 1 into the same movie.
It's a long movie, then.
It is. But so my thing is, I don't think they're actually going to do Darkseid in this movie. But I do want him to appear. I want him to have a scene. I think he could have a great kick-ass scene, and then save him for Justice League 3. Do Brainiac or something for Justice League 2, or Justice Lords in Justice League, whatever.
It'd be cool if they did. There's so many story arcs. One thing I'll give DC credit for is they've done a lot of story arcs with all the Justice League characters that are that have been really well received. That they have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
Do
you guys? Oh no, we just answered that. Do you guys drink apple cider? Yes, both the non-alcoholic and alcoholic varieties. Why does the Super Friends podcast get so much controversy? I think Well, it's DC, and I feel like there's a great divide in the DC universe right now. There are people that... I mean, the one thing to remember, regardless, is that we are all fans in some way, shape, or form of the source material. And there's a divide between the fans, I think, that really know that it can be done better, know that it can be done more in line with what we know and love from the comics, and they strive for that. They don't just want to settle for less. And then there are some people that I think genuinely are excited to see a different take, maybe just to see them on the big screen. Yeah. That being said, I think people have just we've got this reputation, but I think people have just come to kind of write it off. It's like people get so defensive nowadays, and it's not just about the comic book movies. It's about everything. It's like if you say one negative thing, like I think Batman v Superman could have been better, because it could have. There was a lot to build on. The future could still be bright, but even still, it's like the first part of that sentence, in the minds of many, would discredit the rest of the sentence. I think people just go to such extremes now. You'll see people with Twitter bios that say DCEU movies are masterpieces and stuff like that. It's like, well, yes, it was an allegory for Excalibur, and I get that. That's really cool. I like it when movies do that. I like it when we can recognize things like that. But maybe walk before you run. Maybe crawl even before you walk.
Maybe just be born.
You can do all the allegories you want. It's just like, at the end of the day, you got to make a good movie. You got to make a movie that's watchable, a movie that you can, and it's, I don't know. I don't know why. I've had people that I respect their opinions very highly tell me that they waited to see it and they didn't think it was as bad as everybody else thought. And I was like, okay, I get that. I feel like there are just a lot of people that care very strongly about this film either way, and I feel like that's the same for the DCEU, and that's why the Super Friends podcast is so controversial. Also, I'm pretty sure Waru is under 18 if he asked the Kamala Khan question. I'm turning 50. All right. We skipped that Kamala Khan question because that's statutory for both of us. The Bobby Drake one pissed me off, though. What are your thoughts on Iceman revealed to be gay in 2015?
I thought it was kind of pointless, but it's still...
I don't mind it.
It's not a big deal.
It's kind
of weird, though, him of all people. He's such a womanizer.
Exactly. That was kind of the... it's interesting, because that's not like a new tactic. That's one of the oldest tropes in sitcoms and TV shows. It's like, oh, the womanizer is actually gay, or he's at the very least got some homosexual tendencies. I don't really care. I like the X-Men. I like the original X-Men, and Bobby Drake is certainly a big part of that. But, I think every time you've got to be careful of changing too many things. But, and it's the tricky part. Is so you talk about diversity has to happen. That's true. I think that we should do more to facilitate diversity. And every time they're like, well, maybe the easiest way is to just, change an existing character. The issue is somebody cares about that character. Somebody cares very strongly about that character, and they have for a long time. Like Wally West with Josh. Josh did not react well to Wally being black. And people called Josh a racist, which is kind of funny because it's like, is he Clayton Bigsby? No.
Well, there's actually a reason for that, too, because... a lot of people don't know this because a lot of people don't read Wally West, but a big part of his character, especially early on, was the fact that his father was a racist.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal that he wanted to date Linda Park and marry Linda Park because she was Asian. So Wally it was a big deal because Wally's father had a lot of huge Irish pride. Because if you don't know, Wally's, redhead and everything, and that was a huge part of the character. So I didn't really have a problem as much that Wally was black, but the fact that they just ignored all of that, the fact that it was actually an integral part to the character, and they just totally ignored that, which showed such a huge disrespect to that character in his history. So, when you know the character, you understand why, but to the Iceman thing, it's not that big of a deal. I think they could have done it better, though, because the way they went about it, they had a telepath forcibly make him admit to being gay, and a lot of people thought she was mind manipulating him. into being gay. Like, they didn't really do it that well because he was like, I'm not gay, and then Jean Grey was just like, come on, you're gay, and then he was like, I'm
okay.
gay. So like they didn't really do it the best. But honestly, to answer your question, our thoughts on it, I think we both agree it doesn't really matter, honestly.
But that's kind of, like I said, it's because I don't think that really matters very strongly to us, and I think we understand that it matters to somebody. Who would you cast as Eddie Brock? Oh, thank you. You're welcome, Paranara. Who would you cast as Eddie Brock Venom? This is a tough question. So here's the thing. When you're casting characters today, especially because Spider-Man is just so damn young, you're really looking at a very specific age group of characters.
The guy that played Flash in Amazing Spider-Man.
Wasn't Joe Manganiello. Who was it?
No, Amazing Spider-Man. The guy
I know. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I don't remember the actor's name, but I could see him playing a future Eddie Brock. Because presumably they'd make Eddie older. Eddie's always been shown to be like a little bit older, even in the Ultimate version.
I mean, I think you could do somebody like... see, that's tough because it's got to be a good actor, too.
Oh, yeah, you got to get something to get that duality across.
Well, what about... you know what? So I don't think Liam Hemsworth is a good actor. I don't think he's as good as Chris Hemsworth. Sorry, Liam. The third Hemsworth brother, Luke.
There's a third.
Oh, have you watched Westworld?
No.
He's the security guy in Westworld.
Okay.
The third Hemsworth brother should be Eddie Brock. There we go. I'll say that. He could be like an older, but he's in his like 30s. He's like the same age as Hemsworth, so he'd be a lot older. But I think that would be an interesting dynamic. Should Damian be in Young Justice Season 3? Depending on the time period, I'd say yeah. If they have another time jump, you could do like, okay, Tim's now Red Robin and
I can see them doing a time jump.
What is your favorite soda brand? I was a big Coke product guy coming up. I've actually recently stopped drinking a lot of soda, but I still love ginger ale. Canada Dry ginger ale is my favorite.
Green tea ginger ale is amazing.
Oh, so good. Are you hoping for a Moon Knight movie? Of course, Moon Knight movie or Netflix. I'm hoping for a Netflix show because honestly,
you need a Netflix show for that.
It's one of those funny things where it's like nowadays I would actually prefer for a character to have a Netflix show.
Yeah. Spider-Man too.
Spider-Man.
I made a whole video about
it was great. Just because Netflix shows, and granted, there's issues with both. Like a movie, maybe you don't get quite enough. A Netflix show, sometimes you get a little too much. Like a lot of shows have that sag, like Luke Cage. It's like where it sags around episode 8. But if they did like an 8 to 10 episode miniseries Netflix show, that would be stellar for Moon Knight.
I feel it might be something that if the Inhumans thing really works out, it'll really open the door for more miniseries like that. Because I could see Marvel maybe not committing a whole show to a character, but maybe like they wouldn't mind doing like a 4 to 6 episode miniseries. And
True.
Moon Knight would definitely benefit because he needs that time to really explore the character.
I agree.
Hi, Nathan.
Michael asks, shout out Nathan. What's up, Nathan? How you doing, bud?
Yes.
Maybe we'll get some more background on that, so we know. Maybe we'll give you a little more of a shout out next time. That was Colin.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Colin if you're watching this. I follow you on Instagram. Hey guys, a good superhero manga to read would be My Hero Academia. I will take that into consideration. I'm looking for something to read. Honestly, I have not really read any manga recently. Death Note was really like the last one that I sat down and actually really read through.
My last was.
But I read through Death Note a lot. So, do you want Justice League to be 3 hours? If it fills 3 hours well and flows well, so here's the thing: people are like, "Oh, a 3-hour movie is just it's a bear. It can't work. It won't flow well." The Lord of the Rings movies show you that a 3-hour movie can flow really well. Return of the King won a damn Oscar. But it's one like a lot. It's just it's got to be compelling from start to finish. Can you shout out Nathan? Nathan, what's good?
If Zack Snyder can make a compelling 3-hour Justice League movie, I will give him all the awards.
Paranara asks, what are your thoughts on Flash Season 3 so far, and what is something you want improved in Season 4? Do the damn rogues. Stop doing Speedster of the Week. So here's the thing. I love Savitar. I'm really hoping they explore a little more of his origin and kind of break it down a little bit more, and we see the man under the suit.
Yeah.
Because he had a sick mustache, okay? That's got to be there. Is Nightwing a killer in the DCEU? God, I hope not. I hope that's what they split over. Where's your Jack Daniels? coming later. What do you think about Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man Torment from the 90s? I'm not familiar with that. Do you?
It was decent.
I love Todd McFarlane though. I hope Spawn is good. Nightwing is not a killer. Hopefully not. How did Excalibur? Truly, how did
Excalibur?
We'll find out more later, I'm sure. We're like a while before. No one cares Bobby was gay. It was how it happened, exposed by friend SMH. Truth, Will. So you speak the true. Have I heard about Tracer in Overwatch? I have heard. I've played Overwatch a little bit. I'm not really that into the lore, so once again, that's something that didn't really affect me. But it's cool. I mean, I like that.
Wait, who's Tracer? I don't follow Overwatch.
Tracer is she was like the cover girl. Yellow suit, goggles. Yeah,
I know my
short hair, Australian. What other Marvel street level character should get a Netflix show? Moon Knight is a good one.
Scarlet Spider, if they would ever have the balls.
That'd be dope.
It looked like Amazing Spider-Man, the series, and everyone gives him a lot of flack for having the lead scene with his dad coming back. But I was actually really hyped up for that because it looked like they were setting up Clone Saga, like the Jackal and all that.
Yeah.
And I was really excited because I never thought we'd see that in a movie. And we were potentially about to get Ben Reilly, and we'll probably never get that ever again now.
We'll see. Give Marvel a little bit of time. Magnus Ending asks, when do you think new characters in Injustice are going to be revealed? Well, if it's coming out in May, I'd say very soon. Ed Boon just said yesterday or earlier today, maybe I kind of lost track. He said that they were going to do more character reveals on Twitter. So, I mean, there are probably going to be a couple between now and May, and then, of course, we'll get the full roster at some point, maybe in March or April.
Yeah, and we'll definitely keep you updated on the channel.
Absolutely.
Definitely look at the schedule of revealing they did for the first Injustice game, because the review, like the release date and all that stuff, and when they revealed the title in the first place, it's very reminiscent to the first Injustice game. Time-wise, at least. Not, obviously, content and stuff like that.
What do you think of Bart Allen being introduced in The Flash someday? Yes, please.
It'd be pretty dope.
Somebody points out they can still do the Wally's dad being racist if he is black, which is true.
Well, no, I mean they couldn't do the Irish heritage part. That was the big deal. Was that Wally's dad was such a proud Irish, heritage guy.
Do you guys make mac and cheese? Waru asks. Yes, all the time. Chris Zilka is the guy that played Flash in The Amazing Spider-Man. Good to know. He could still do it. Who do you think Sigourney Weaver's character is in The Defenders? I really don't know, but my gut tells me it's Mephisto. Although it's weird because I feel like the enemy is going to be mainly like the Hand. I feel like it's going to be more of like Shadowland.
I thought it. Yeah, I kind of thought it's.
And so in that case, Sigourney Weaver playing like kind of this combo.
Interesting Mephisto.
A combo of Mephisto and the Beast would be really interesting, but I don't think that's really what they're going to do. So, Greg, I don't know, man. I'm waiting just like you for more information.
I really just want to interject and say, for the next season of Flash and possibly the rest of this second half season, I hope they fix Wally's suit.
Waru, how do I send my shipping address for my movie inside shirt? We will contact you on Facebook.
So don't put it on.
Do not.
For everyone to see it.
Greg asks, would you rather marry Scarlett Johansson or Margot Robbie?
I'll let you go first on this.
They are both fine women. I would just have to say Margot Robbie because she's closer in age to me. Both really great there. Like the trouble is we don't get to see, and she seems very fun and laid back in interviews, but that's still when a camera's rolling. We really don't know what either of them is like when the cameras aren't rolling.
That's true. I mean, that plays a big part. But I mean, if we're being optimistic, let's say they're both, off camera. They're just both great, like gals and stuff. I'll let you have Margot Robbie. I'll take Scarlett Johansson. We probably get along. But I feel like also, like, if I was just really tired one day, I just wanted to go to sleep, she could, like, put me to sleep. After watching her, I feel like she would have, like, her voice could just, like, soothe me to sleep.
I did not even really... Oh, wait, Margot or Scarlett?
Scarlett. That's
Margot? Yeah, no doubt. No, I think you said Scarlett. I just didn't care. I completely agree with that. Good God. I didn't even factor in the voice. That might sway the vote for me. Your mom was watching. Hi, Miss Tina, if you're still watching.
That's awkward.
Handsome dudes, no homo. Thank you. Are you guys going to see Alien Covenant? Nick?
You are.
You are. But I will go see it.
Asterisk.
Definitely, for sure. And I'll be terrified the entire time. I hate horror movies, and from what I've heard, this is like really getting back to like the horror roots. So I will hate myself for doing it, but I will go see it. Who's your favorite Oh shit! This keeps like jumping ahead.
Who's your favorite young
DC character aside from Batman characters? Favorite young DC character?
Does Shazam count? Because he's a kid.
That's true. It could.
Does Nightwing? No, not Batman.
Yeah. That's tough. I really don't have a lot of
family characters because most of them are.
Yeah, like Wally's great.
Bart,
Kid Flash is really
great too.
Yeah. Dang, that's
really
really tough.
Kids, if you count them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. That is really tough.
Everyone always forgets they exist, but they're there. They're real.
Aqualad, but like old school Aqualad that looked like Barnacle Boy. What villain do you think would be better for Justice League than Darkseid? I honestly think the way they've set up the DCEU, I think they could make a very good and compelling movie, pitting them against the Injustice League or the Justice Lords or something like that. Something that really makes them examine their morality, and maybe I feel like that would be probably the best and most organic way, if a little bit on the nose, of having them become the superheroes we know and love. It's just like, okay, we're dangerously close to what these people are. We need to do better.
I feel like I want to say Brainiac due to like the scope of what he could be like, and I want to say Mongol too because he has Warworld. But I definitely agree with what CJ said. But also, when I think of like villains, I mean, basically Legion of Doom and Justice League. I mean, basically like evil teams. But I think a villain that could really work well is like what's his name? And it's slipping my mind, but I forgot him. But like Professor Zoom would be a great Justice League villain.
Yeah, in
a way. But I also like the idea someone had a while ago of Aquaman as the villain and kind of doing like a twist on Throne of Atlantis.
That'd be interesting.
I always thought that'd be a kind of cool thing.
How come DC and WB? Why does a lot of people hate Sam Alexander? I don't know. I mean, I think it's different.
They just need to give him a chance.
Exactly.
He's a decent interpretation, but people need to understand he was never trying to replace Richard Rider either, and I think a lot of people are definitely going to warm up to Sam now that Richard is back.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
How come DC and WB have never attempted at making a Wonder Woman game? I don't know, Waru. I feel like part of it is because it's actually pretty difficult, especially now that you've got the movies. Like, do you make it a movie tie-in? Do you make it a completely separate thing? If it's a separate thing, what kind of game do you model it after? Is it going to be, is it? I feel like God of War, but now that they're still making God of War games, I feel like they're going to kind of
they did the Green Lantern,
slow that down,
which was God of War wannabe.
True, but I don't know, man. It's kind of. I feel like it's tough because you got to figure out what the gameplay style was going to be.
So busy doing Injustice too.
That's true. What do you think of the new Power Rangers movie expectations?
I'm excited.
I'm not. So here's the thing. Like, the cast seems great. We got to see them in NYCC. We got to see their panel. We actually got to see the trailer too when it was debuted there.
Becky G's wifey.
I have a bad feeling about the movie. It's one of those things that's kind of like to crib the Captain America quote. It's like, if I see this situation pointed south, I can't ignore it. And the situation is pointed south for me. It just, from the trailer, it does not look like a great movie. It looks like they're trying to make it like a really edgy
Power Rangers,
teenagers with attitude, dark, gritty Power Rangers movie. And I'm like, that's not really. I don't know. It's not what I would have expected. It's not what I would have wanted.
Edgy teenager. I mean, that's a pretty good description.
How y'all feel now that the Living Tribunal got muerted?
Actually, technically, we don't know if the new Living Tribe. Alright, so technically, the Omniversal Living Tribunal is alive, or one universe version of him survived, which became the Adam Warlock version. So it's really complicated. It's just like how eternity, the concept of eternity, is chained, but that's just like the multiversal version, and the still individual universe versions are okay. Which is why in Civil War 2, Eternity was able to come down and talk with Ulysses. It's really convoluted, but I mean, it's kind of stupid.
Do you guys think that Rocksteady Games could make a Superman video game? Yes, they could. Josh had a great idea for a Superman video game a while back. I think if anyone can do it, it's Rocksteady. I can't really think of another developer that could really do it as well as they could. But yeah, check out Josh made it. Did you ever make a video? But it was like it was like in 2011.
I made a video explaining pretty in depth how they can make a Superman game. To answer Glenn's question, it wasn't a problem of someone else being Irish. It was like the traditional like red hair, freckles, green eyes, Irish like pride.
All right.
But yeah,
how many points did he score?
Someone scored points.
34 points.
All right.
Game? Josh likes his women experience. Yes, he does. I like my women, not loud or nice. Wow. We're learning a lot about Waru.
This is interesting.
Did anyone hear Scarlett Johansson read the Bible? I did not, but no. I would be really interested. Smallville Flash should play the same character on the Flash TV show. Like a Flash from another universe, I guess.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Did you guys love Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle? Yes, I do. I actually really like Jaime Reyes a lot.
I like the kind of dynamic that they've developed between him and his Kaji Da.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Do you think they might bring back the Smallville cast if they ever do Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW? They could. I think that would be a big... I think nothing is out of the question as far as that's concerned, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of those actresses aren't really doing a ton.
It'd be cool if they, since you said Smallville, with Tom Welling, it'd be cool if they made him, more... kind of not battle weary, but the more experienced kind of age Superman, because you could say it gets less likely as the actors get older, but they could easily work a way around that.
What's your favorite DC Rebirth run and why? My personal favorite, and I'm a stan, so y'all know what I'm saying. My personal favorite is Nightwing, because I feel like it's seamlessly has kind of rolled off of what they were doing in Grayson, and I think it kind of showed you that losing Tom King did not hurt that run at all. It's the fact that he went on to bigger and better things really didn't kill off, because I was personally worried when it was just going to be Tim Seeley by himself. But Tim Seeley, I think you can see, was really one of the driving forces in making Nightwing really fun. And I feel like it's just been great so far. It's been very true to the character. He's back in Bloodhaven now. There have been some issues, but I feel like the issues are more with DC editorial kind of wanting this shorter style, which has made arcs a little bit shorter by kind of default. Yourself?
The Raptor thing was pretty good.
I liked it. It just wrapped up way too quickly. It's like they revealed the big twist and then the thing ended in the same issue.
Build a big twist.
Basically, it was me, Dick, your entire life. But in the Flash TV show, do you think will a reference to Barry and Iris's kids, the Tornado Twins? That would be fun. I think that actually could happen.
I'd be down for that.
Thoughts on Failwhale 34? Love that guy. Big fan. Failwhale is savage.
Yes.
Just cribbing Greg there. Thoughts on Scott Lobdell screwing up Tim Drake? I can let you take that one. I'm going to go to a glass of water.
There's no thoughts.
There's no thoughts? No words?
No.
Are you sure?
I mean...
Seems like there are thoughts.
I can give a whole monologue on my thoughts, but... at the end of the day, it's over. And I'm glad it's over. And those are my thoughts. Someone asked thoughts on the Justice League costumes.
I actually like...
I like all, but I wish they did a... For Cyborg, it seems like they're going really CG, and I wish they did a mix, kind of what they did with Iron Man and Winter Soldier and all those. I wish they did a mix of and Black Panther too. I wish they did a mix of prosthetics and then touched it up with CG.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see when we get some behind the scenes photos of what he was wearing, because there's clearly part of his face. I love the original Teen Titans look for Cyborg that they've kind of gone back to in Rebirth, and even his little series before Rebirth.
Well, my favorite was the DCU look he had. I thought it was really cool. It was a nice, you knew he was a cyborg, but it wasn't too overtaking.
Well, I think that's kind of what he's got now in the comics.
Well, he has they gave him back the look he had right before Rebirth.
Yeah.
Right before DCU.
Oh.
But it's they want to ignore DCU ever existed, because DCU also, during that Cyborg run, besides that look, they also introduced the concept that if he wanted to, and if he concentrated, he could hide his cyborg parts, disguise them.
Yeah.
And so he would look human again, so he could walk amongst people and stuff.
favorite MCU costume. For me, it's actually a tie between Captain America's First Avenger costume and Winter Soldier. I think like a lot of people overlook Winter Soldier, but it's like
that was pretty cool.
Dead on.
It was simple, but it was accurate.
I mean, it's completely accurate. Like that's one of my favorite things.
I mean, I'm not considering Iron Man costumes because like all the different armors and everything. But if I had to, I would put War Machine. That War Machine armor is nice. I've always digged the War Machine armor. But if I had to go with character's costume, I would put Black Panther on there. I thought they really did a good job with it, considering how it could have went. I thought they did a really good job.
How should DC Rebirth introduce Plastic Man? Waru asks. I've actually thought about this. I think he should be not like a viral video star, but I feel like he should be like one of us. Like he should be like a YouTube star that kind of is like internet famous for using his powers for like doing stupid shit. And I feel like he should be pressed into becoming a more serious hero or something like that. And then that's just the way to go about it. Because I mean, Plastic Man's always been a little goofy. I feel like you could have him be a Vine star if you want, and when Vine,
that would be funny.
When Vine shuts down, like he's got to do something else with his life, and so he decides to become a hero. Yeah. And I think there's another question. Mohammed asks, would you guys ever produce a comic book fan film? If so, which hero/heroes? We're going to do that Plastic Man movie where he's a Vine star, but then Vine shuts down. Least favorite superhero movie? There's so many to choose from.
I guess
Fan Four Stick.
Are we excluding the 90s ones?
No, but Fan Four Stick is still the answer.
I'll put Fan.
Do the Roger Corman Fantastic Four as your... I mean, to me, it's just fantastic because I've never actually... even Spider-Man 3, like, I was sitting there, like, as a kid, but I was like, eh. But, like, Fantastic Four, I was literally, like, Josh... I was there with Josh, my brother, and my girlfriend. And I was literally, like... doubled over with my head between my knees most of the fucking movie because it was so bad. I think part of the issue is I had convinced myself it would be good. I was worried. I had this instinct, like I do with Power Rangers. I had this instinct it was going to be bad, and then I went and saw it. I convinced myself because of this guy that it was going to be good, and I went and saw it, and it was not good.
I mean, to me, it's a battle between Green Lantern and... It's a fight between Green Lantern and Fan Four Stick, and unfortunately, I don't want to waste the energy to even debate that with myself. Yeah. So.
We're not Skyping right now. We're doing this. Waru asks, should Marvel make a video game universe with the Insomniac Spider-Man game? Yes. I feel like they need to get back on the board.
That's pretty cool.
Michael asks, do you miss Miles? Miles time.
Ask us in like a year. Miles time.
What if the Smallville Flash was always Bart from the Flash TV show? We don't know his whole backstory, and maybe he was stuck in the Smallville universe. That's hot. That's
that'd
possible.
Be interesting.
I actually
he's
like
dead
that.
Technically, but that'd be cool. Flash killed him.
If you guys could be one superhero, who would it be?
Shazam.
Green Lantern, actually. I feel like he could a very interesting power set.
Shazam or Wally West Flash, because Wally West Flash is faster than Barry and has more Speed Force abilities. So.
That's true. If I could be someone like
that super speed's pretty tight.
Yeah, relative time manipulation. Can I choose a villain? I'll be Reverse Flash, just because the whole.
Because he also has due to his gauntlet he can absorb life force and other.
Yeah, manipulating relative time is pretty ridiculous because you could just stop time. It's nope.
That's why I said Wally West Flash, because you can forward time, so you can slow time all you want. Just
hey, Will, I want to know how Ultimate Peter's still alive.
I know the answer to this.
All right, go ahead and answer it.
All right, so Ultimate Peter is actually dead. The Peter we saw coming back is actually Ultimate. It's not Ultimate Ben Reilly because they introduced Ultimate Ben Reilly, but he conceptually is Ultimate Ben Reilly. So they never explored it more in depth. But if you notice a few key things, when he was reintroduced, when they first teased him, he was wearing a blue hoodie behind bushes. When Ben Reilly was first teased, he was wearing a blue hoodie behind bushes. So it's little things like that if you pay attention to, you get a good idea. And Bendis kind of teased it, but he wasn't really that direct with it. We actually made a video about that, talking about how they might do Ultimate Scarlet Spider, obviously before the Ultimate Universe got canceled. So to answer your question, in the Ultimate Universe, when that Peter Parker came back thing was going on, that was not the original Peter Parker. That was a clone. If you remember from the earlier Clone Saga in the Ultimate Universe, there was multiple clones, but one clone never came out. So presumably, this was that perfected clone that came out eventually. It's also considering the facility and all that stuff. So,
true.
Yeah.
Should Marvel bring back the Ultimate Universe? That's another good question. I kind of like the fact that they have one universe right now. If the rumors are true, they're going to spin off Renew Your Vows into its... Well, Renew Your Vows is already its own universe.
It's ongoing.
But the rumor I've heard is that they're going to spin off more people into the Renew Your Vows verse. Like X-Men 92 is going to go become part of the Renew Your Vows verse.
They might as well just bring back MC2, but they won't.
Best drunk story you have. I'm trying to think of the best.
Are we even allowed to say that?
The first time I got really, really drunk, I was watching... It was a Game of Thrones drinking game with my friends. And there were a bunch of rules. And like literally by halfway through episode 2, I was hammered. And then we started doing shots. And all I remember is like I was just in the bathroom like puking my guts out because it was the first time I'd ever actually done shots. This was my freshman year of college. And... at one point, like because I was living in a dorm, one of the security people came up with like the student health officer or whatever the building's person was. He was like, "Hey, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. We got to call somebody who was puking in the bathroom." And at this point, I was standing up near the sinks with my friends, and we all kind of pulled off like the best acting performance of our lives. We were like, "No, just talking, just hanging out." And they were like, "Really?" Because we got a call that somebody was puking, and my buddy literally like jumped into action and just starts like he honestly started fake crying because he hadn't just been broken up with, but it had been like a pretty recent thing, and he just went on this amazing rant in fake tears. It's like if she broke up with me, why would she text me back? Why would she text me 2 weeks later? And the guy like literally just put his hands up and backed the fuck out of there. Like he was like, "I'm not getting involved in this. Y'all have a great night. Bye." And it was like, all right, there you go. Bob's your uncle. That's like probably the best one I have. But getting away with some crazy stuff. Ultimate Universe is dead. Ultimate Spider-Man is dead. Isn't Reed building the multiverse? I'd be interested to see if that happens. I think he is, but that kind of seems like a throwaway line for me. Why does Will love Harley Quinn? He's Will. How do you guys like pre-New 52 Superman back in the comics, and what kind of role he and his family will play in the New 52 continuity? I hope they stay. I'm a little worried they're kind of going to reverse it, but I think as popular as he's been, they can't really do that. As for what role he and his family are going to... I think they're just going to take that like prime spot, like the Superman and Super Family. I think they're kind of going to be like really the poster people from now on. But
see how that goes.
Do you think Harley Quinn is too popular?
Oh God, yes.
I feel like it's just it comes and goes. It's in waves. Every year you see like when Deadpool came out, it's like all of a sudden, people are going to be dressed as Deadpool at all the Comic-Cons, and they were. It's like okay, when
that was for years too. Remember VA Comic-Con?
I mean, there were a lot of Deadpools, but it kind of reached like a zenith as the movie was coming out, and then it's like Harley Quinn. It's like okay, there were always a lot of Harley Quinns, but now there's it comes in waves. It comes and goes. Join a hybrid Skype call in a minute. We're probably only going to do this for like another couple of minutes, anyways. What should DC do with Static? That's a good question.
They said they were going to do like a web series with them. They should give them a not a TV show, an ongoing series again. When the Teen Titans were based in the New 52, when the Teen Titans were based in Manhattan, it didn't make sense to me why Static wasn't a member because his series was canceled by then. He is in New York, and mechanically he's in New York now. They moved him from Dakota City, but then also on top of that, he had a special appearance. He made Kid Flash the suit with Tim Drake, and then everyone thought he was going to join Teen Titans, which would have been awesome, and then nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think they forgot about Static. Like I heard they are trying like that, like the milestone characters. I heard they're like trying to give them their own pocket universe soon. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think Tom Welling should play Kingdom Come Superman? I'd be very interested
awesome.
in that. He followed that up with Tom Welling as pre-New 52 Superman with Erica Durance Lois with a kid. That'd be interesting. But I feel like Tyler Hoechlin is already kind of pre-New 52 Superman, even though his suit is different. Mario asks, how vulgar can Nick be? I will say less than you think, I think. I mean, he can be at times, but so can all of us. But he generally, I think, is probably less than you think.
Everyone knows their time.
Who's going to... do you think Jimmy should have been Steel on Supergirl since he's bigger and taller than Tyler's Superman? That would have been an interesting twist on the character, but I generally like the character of Steel. I'd like to see John Henry Irons introduced at some point. I just don't know if this is going to be, like, if he's ever going to... I honestly, personally think Supergirl, like, they could do a dope fucking thing with the four Supermen. Like, they could actually do the four Supermen.
I really dig the Guardian costume they gave Jimmy.
Yeah.
That costume actually looks pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
True.
A lot of people thought Diggle was gonna be Guardian for a while. Remember that?
Yeah. He's just super Diggle. But yeah, no. Now I want the four Supermen with Tyler Hoechlin. I mean, you've got I don't like that.
Cyborg Superman.
Real Hank. I don't like that.
I love like when you said that. You're like, he doesn't have. He doesn't even
There's
look
no
like
need
Superman.
for himself to call himself Cyborg. He can call himself literally anything else.
I'm super strong, man.
Exactly. I'm Robo Badass. You know, it's Go-Go Gadget, Punching Fist. Like,
Go-Go
you can call
Henchman.
yourself anything. Like, why would you choose... The reason why Cyborg Superman called himself that, or was called that, is because he was a cyborg that looked like Superman. It just seemed like a fairly, like, asinine thing to do, to give him that name just because he was Hank Henshaw.
They just did it for the name, though.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character? Who's your favorite character on Young Justice? I actually really like. It's tough
Wally.
because I like Wally's good. I like Calder a lot.
They did a good job with all the characters, really.
Really, yeah. I like Calder, but I really have.
I gotta go Wally.
I've got a soft spot for Superboy. I think I feel like he had a really interesting arc.
You know, he did. You're right. He had a really.
That's my issue with Aqualad, is I feel like we got a little bit of backstory on him, but he was kind of always the same.
The comics, that's the problem.
The undercover thing was really great, though.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Why do people think Savitar will have a huge identity reveal? Can't we just have a random masked supervillain? I agree with you, Magma. I don't think Savitar should not be revealed to be anybody. If he's revealed to be Eddie Thawne, I'm not watching like the rest of the show.
You're gonna quit it?
Well, I won't watch the rest of the season. It's because the thing with Savitar in the comics is he's just this guy. He's just this guy with a great mustache that shows up, and he's faster than Barry. Actually,
mustache.
Barry was dead. He's faster
than
than Wally, which is saying a lot because Wally is super fucking fast. But it's literally because Savitar, like, he was alive, trapped in the Speed Force for years, and learned and studied, and basically became this ridiculous speed god. Like, he calls himself the speed god because he is rightfully the fastest person on Earth. But it's part of the great thing about it is he's this random dude. Like, so if he's revealed, that's the issue. They're probably going to do it, Magma. They're probably going to reveal him to be somebody, and it's going to kill me. Who is your least favorite Marvel character? That's tough. Least favorite.
Well, I have a few.
Go ahead.
Jeez. I never really digged Red She-Hulk. I thought that was kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Red Hulk kind of grew on me over time, so I'm going to give him a pass. I never really digged the Ant-Man after Scott Lang. Eric O'Grady, I believe that's who it was. I never really digged that version. Really, every time they introduce a new character to basically take the place of an MCU character, and by that I mean they want that character to be the MCU character, it's always kind of frustrating. Every time I could just basically I'm kind of flexible, but the only reason why with that is because I've been reading more DC than Marvel, so I don't really when it got to a point where I started disliking a bunch of the characters, I stopped reading, basically. So,
who's your least favorite DC character? For me, it's Bunker, but it's got nothing to do with him as a character. It's more like the way he was written, and like he was. If I was a gay person, I would have been insulted by he was so it's like Scott Liddell was sitting there like, how can I write the most stereotypical? Not only how can I write the most stereotypical gay person and the most stereotypical Hispanic person and combine them into one? And it's just he was just a walking stereotype. Do you think Mr. Oz in the comics is Ozymandias, and is he helping Dr. Manhattan? I think he could be. I think it would be personally the only theory I can come up with for that is that he actually is Ozymandias. But Dr. Manhattan came back after the fact and was like, no, what you did was wrong. You're a jackass. I'm going to disfigure you horribly because what you love is the fact that you're so pretty and good at everything. So I'm going to disfigure you horribly, and you're going to be my bitch now.
That'd be interesting.
But I don't think the whole thing with the ending of Watchmen is he leaves to go create life elsewhere because he's done. He doesn't care anymore. The only thing I can think of is if he goes to try and create life elsewhere and fails, and it's like, fuck, I failed, but I found other universes out there that I didn't create. It's like the thing that's special about life is that it can't be created. But even then, that would be a crazy thing for... It kind of confirms what Ozymandias did to save humanity. He went to extreme measures, but see, I really can't think of a reason that would happen, but that's why they're not paying me. Rank the Arkham games, City, Asylum, Origins, Night. What if Rorschach became the Question?
That was a rumor for a while.
I like that. I think because he's... is it he's based on the Question or the Question is based on him? I think he's based on the Question.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
which is perfect. I think I would like that.
There was a rumor that they were going to retcon it so with the whole Trinity of Sin thing, when Dr. Manhattan killed him, he didn't really kill him. He simply sent him to the DC universe.
Yeah.
And everything. That was a rumor. I don't know if it's true.
How would you map out the Spider-Man villains for the trilogy? I would do... we've got Vulture in the first movie and we're getting Shocker. I would do Mysterio in the second one because everybody wants Mysterio. And I feel like that would be an interesting, intellectual villain for Spider-Man to face. Mysterio and maybe someone like Scorpion or something like that, just as muscle or something like... but for the third movie, I think you got to do Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, or even if they want to do Ultimate, because my thing is, if you don't get the Fantastic Four back, if you don't get the X-Men back, Norman Osborn is going to be very important in Phase 4. I feel like they could do so many things, with Dark Reign, Siege. I feel like that could be Dark Reign and Siege could be your Avengers 5. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even a little bit maybe Avengers 6 if they want to do that. If they want to do something for Avengers 5 first.
I'd like to see is alright, so we have Vulture and Shock and all that. Second movie, I'd like to see Scorpion, but with Kraven in the background. Kind of because, with kind of Kraven's mindset, I could easily see him manipulating people to make Scorpion to test Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Kraven could evaluate Spider-Man himself.
I do want to see Kraven
and
too.
And then Kraven in the third movie goes in for the hunt.
There you go.
Because I don't see them doing Norman Osborn in the Green Goblin. I can see them doing Norman Osborn, Businessman, and all that, and Dark Reign from that. But I don't see them doing Green Goblin anytime soon, since they've already done it twice.
Yeah, well, kind of. Anyone watch Archer? Yes, I love Archer. Oh, yeah. I can't wait for
Danger
the new season.
Zone.
FXX. Is Gotham any good this season? I honestly haven't watched this season at all. I've kind of given up on it.
I gave up on it.
I gave up on it a long time ago. Is the New 52 continuity the pre-New 52 continuity, but with 10 years subtracted from it? And that is the question. It looks like it. It sounds like it from how they're explaining it. But we really just don't know thus far. That's kind of the issue. We don't know what it is just yet. Hopefully that's going to be explained. Apparently Jeff Johns is writing a Watchmen series where hopefully more of it will be explained. Selena character from Supergirl movie on TV show. Maybe. You excited about Young Justice Season 3? Yes, of course. I think everybody should. I'm curious because since that was announced, it was announced a couple of months ago, we still have not heard where it will be returning to. And that's a little odd to me. I still strongly feel like it'll probably be Netflix or Adult Swim. I feel like Cartoon Network would have announced something. But I also kind of feel like Netflix would have announced something. I feel like if it's going to be anything, it's going to be Adult Swim. As Marvel Comics reach the danger zone, they're right on into it. It's a zone full of danger. How do you guys high school? How do you do it? How do you survive it? Neither of us, Josh, is more closely removed. I've been graduated for about 4 years now. Will you do more videos like this? Maybe. We do one of these every year. I kind of like doing these things where we sit down and chat with y'all. Unfortunately, me and Josh don't live super close to each other. We're close enough to do this on a semi-regular basis, but not close enough to do it like every week. Cast new actors for the Batman Rogues: Joker, Harley, Riddler, Two-Face, Ivy, Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, Penguin. This is tough. Joker, Willem Dafoe, Harley. That's tough. Who would I cast as Harley? Harley, I think you can keep Margot Robbie. Two-Face or Riddler. I'll parrot the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. Bring him back. Two-Face. This is really tough. You're putting me on the spot. Armie Hammer. Why not? Let's say Armie Hammer is Two-Face.
Tom Hardy
would be Ivy.
I'll just throw Megan Fox in there.
Bella Thorne. Or Christina Hendricks.
Thorne for MJ.
Scarecrow. Dude, I'd love that. Scarecrow. Scarecrow's tough. Who's creepy? What was it? Peter Sarsgaard. Hold on. We've now lost the Mr. Freeze. Arnold.
Yeah, might as well.
Arnold. No. This is tough. Catwoman. I've seen a lot of people saying
Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, I'd go for that. Penguin. Danny DeVito. Again.
Yeah.
Danny's still got it. The issue with Penguin is he's got to be like...
It depends what version of him.
Yeah. Do you think the DCEU would ever do a Red Hood and the Outlaws movie? I think it's possible, especially if they do introduce Red Hood in a Batman movie like has been rumored. Do a backflip? No. Should they do a Blade on They should do Blade on Netflix for sure. My favorite type of chicken, I do like fried chicken. I do. Grilled is good. Fried is really good. Bad for you though. Margot Robbie, yes. Favorite food?
It's either panettone or basically anything with like meat, like ribs and steak.
Ribs are good. I enjoy a good steak. I love all foods, so it's so hard for me to choose. My dad is actually pretty... I come by my cooking honestly and naturally.
Every time your dad makes food, I can't help it. But
I like all food. It's really hard for me to choose just one. So I'm not going to.
I made some pasta last night. It was on point.
Favorite character in Star Wars Rebels? Jenny McCarthy for Harley Quinn. Bringing the actual crazy to that role.
Oh, man.
Favorite character in Star Wars Rebels? I really like Kanan, actually. Ezra's great, but I feel like he's kind of there for the younger audience. I like Kanan a lot. I like how he's kind of developed. We see where he has kind of grown from where he was when the show started to essentially it's like almost taking on a Padawan kind of was more training for him too. It's not training just for the kid, it's training for him. He's kind of become this Jedi Master almost in his own right. Thrawn is great. No, oh my God, Thrawn is great.
They really nailed him down.
Do you think Mary Jane will be in the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy? I do. I think she will be there at some point.
I think she'll be at the end of 2 and the rest of 3. And the reason why is because if the rumors are true that the sequel is going to actually, instead of following him each year in high school, the sequel's going to have him graduate. Kind of what Amazing Spider-Man 2 did. I can see them kind of skipping over, he graduates summer, and I can see them kind of showing him at the end going to college and meeting his college friends, which would be Harry and MJ and Gwen. So I can see them doing that. If they want to stay super accurate to the comics.
They could do Penguin like they could. When Mr. Oz told pre-New 52 Superman that he's not who he thinks he is, and neither is New 52 Superman, did he mean that New 52 Superman was a stand-in for pre-New 52 Superman after a Convergence event?
Technically, no, because the pre-New 52 Superman, according to Swamp Thing, was still vibrating at a different frequency than the rest of the universe. So that would show that he was the out-of-place person.
Yeah. Which means he was a plant. Like he was planted. I don't know about that. I think, well, personally, my working theory is that the New 52 Superman was always Superboy Prime, and it's not just like the Clark Kent that doesn't remember anything is just Superboy. I think he's going to be revealed to be New 52 Superman, but is also going to be revealed to be Superboy Prime the whole time. But I feel like, I mean, if the rumor is true and Dr. Manhattan just created that universe, then you could just say, okay, Dr. Manhattan created the New 52 or destroyed the old universe and created the new one or something like that. Or like the old one was destroyed and then he created this new one and Superman was all that's left. Favorite type of cake? I personally like all cake, man. Chocolate is really probably my favorite. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say lemon. I like a good lemon cake. That is so good.
Good cakes. So.
What are your thoughts on Captain Marvel's new origin? I need to know more about it yet.
Yeah, I agree with CJ.
I don't know how to feel about it because it doesn't make sense for her. We said it in the bio. It doesn't make sense for her to be called Captain Marvel because she's a colonel and she has nothing to do with the original Captain Marvel in this new origin. It doesn't make any sense. Who do you want to be in Dark Universe character-wise? John Constantine, Zatanna, Deadman, Swamp Thing,
Black Adam.
Black Adam would be an interesting.
I always thought Shazam,
actually, I think Shazam should be.
I always thought, since they've been very off and on about Shazam being a core Justice League member, I always thought he would be a good fit on Justice League Dark.
Favorite non-comic book cartoon besides Archer, Rick and Morty? Close sequel to that, or a close runner-up to that is Steven Universe. Bob's Burgers is up there too. I just love Steven Universe personally. I think Mary Jane will hide her face like in the comics.
That was a rumor for a while. She would appear. They would kind of tease her throughout the movie, and then Peter's homecoming day would be MJ.
Will, you need to. You need to make sandwiches.
Could you make me a sandwich?
You need to make sandwiches quicker, bud.
You made me a Nutella peanut butter sandwich.
Do you like the Star Wars prequels? I'll be honest with you, I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I've been a Star Wars fan since literally as long as I can remember. I've said this a couple of times. I think it was mostly on the review for The Force Awakens. It's I literally cannot remember the first time I watched a Star Wars movie. It's because I was so young when it happened. It's literally been with me my entire life. I loved the prequels when I was younger, but it's one of those things where I really enjoyed them when I was a kid, but you can tell as you get older that they're not they're just not good movies. Phantom Menace is awful. Attack of the Clones is marginally better, but even still, it's the dialogue is really bad. I feel like the plot just never really flows, and honestly, is like Batman v Superman to me in a lot of ways, because I feel like they really were super ambitious. George Lucas and Zack Snyder both were. They just were super ambitious, and they went balls to the wall, really trying to get super complex, but ultimately they're running before they walk, and it's you really just need to do the simple things first, make sure the plot works, make sure it flows, and it's they kind of both succumb to grandiose visions, I feel like.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Revenge of the Sith is the best one of the three for me.
Oh, yeah.
Even as a kid, that was my favorite, although I'm not going to lie, the most times I've ever seen a movie in theaters, I saw Attack of the Clones 7 times in theaters. Yes.
I saw a Lego Movie 10 times in theaters.
Good God.
I took multiple people to see it.
Bob's Burgers is fantastic. Gene is one of the great television characters of the day. How could they introduce both Kamala Khan and Miles in the MCU?
Too much it takes too much time to build that legacy.
Well, they can't do it now, but it's I feel like maybe 5 or 6 years down the road, right? Phase 7, Phase 5, they could. What was the first movie you remember seeing besides Star Wars? That's tough.
Winnie the Pooh the movie.
Yeah, probably something like that. I honestly can't remember. The first movie I remember going to see Atlantis in theaters, the animated one.
Milo?
Yeah, I remember going to see that in theaters.
Lion King. I'll put Lion King up there.
I don't remember seeing Lion King. Oh, actually, that's
I remember the first time I watched Lion King. It was pretty great.
Is it cool to Alpha Big Time? If I knew what that was.
Oh, no. Wait, is this I think it's saying Alpha and Big Time? Alpha, the character from Spider-Man, and Big Time, the storyline from Spider-Man?
Maybe.
Alpha as a character has been universally panned so hard they
literally
ignore
he was there for like a week.
They gave him a mini-series.
You think Marvel will make movies in the Ultimate Universe? I don't think so. I just don't think there's really... I mean, there might be a need someday. It's just one of those things where there was only a need for like this separate spin-off, grittier universe, like 60 years down the road from Marvel. But that's in the comics, of course. Did you guys see the despecialized version of the original Star Wars trilogy? No. What is that?
It's the original one before they retouched it with like some CG stuff.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. We had like the VHS. Like that's I remember we had all 3 on VHS, and I watched those religiously. And it's still I wish we still had them. I have they're somewhere around here. I need to go back and rewatch them. Favorite episode of Rick and Morty.
The Purge
Interdimensional Cable.
The Purge one's the Cable one's.
Purge one's good.
The Purge was pretty funny.
I really like the one where they're trying to sort out like who's real and who's not, like the parasites.
What was it like?
Show me what you got.
Yeah, show me what you.
Funny. That I mean, I like that just for Ice-T's subplot. Well, I like it because it's great, but also Ice-T's subplot.
Oh man, what?
So the one with the memory parasites is great. Mr. Poopy Butthole.
The memory parasites that might be. Honestly, can I just say like.
Ooh! Can I tell you? I know exactly which one it is. Microverse, easily. But they're all good. Interdimensional Cable is another one of my favorites.
They're all pretty funny.
Oh yeah,
like the one where he goes and they go to the body.
Like, so why did Anakin?
Anatomy Park or something.
Anatomy Park is good too. So why did Anakin try to jump over Obi-Wan? Greg asks. I know Obi-Wan had the high ground, but he literally got his legs cut off and burned alive. He could have just jumped in front of him. I feel like it's still there wasn't much like room to jump in front of him if you look at where like Obi-Wan was standing. But really the reason he jumped over him is because he was cocky. He ultimately was just so sure of his power, his ability. I mean, you see that they laid the seeds for that through episode 2 as well. In episode 1, he doesn't know any. I mean, he's a talented kid, but that kind of lays the groundwork for why he's cocky in episode 2 when he's like very strong in the Force and very powerful. I thought I had already surpassed Master Yoda. Only in your mind.
Oh, that's a good impression of Baby Christmas.
That's what he sounds like. But it's really it's one of those things where don't be too cocky. Don't be too proud, or you'll get your legs and only remaining human arm chopped off.
Because he had the strategic high ground, literally, and he wasted it.
Should Star Wars have characters twerking?
No.
In context, there was plenty of room. Like I said, I don't know, man. I really need to go back and rewatch Revenge of the Sith and see if it's like a Titanic situation where it's like both of them could fit on the door, but
Rey, Poe, and Finn just start twerking now. And
I'd be fine with Rey twerking. Like let's be real.
I would definitely take her on a date.
That's bae, dude.
She's bae.
Why is Will short? I really don't know. I haven't met Will in real life, but all right, guys. I actually think that's probably going to do it for us here because we've been doing this for like 3.5 hours.
Really?
Yeah, a little under because we didn't start until like 8:15. But it's been great answering your guys' questions. Is Rey waifu correct? Nick is wrong. It's been great answering you guys' questions. We hope you guys enjoyed the show despite the technical difficulties. I know we worked really hard on it. We're very glad that it went.
He worked really hard on it.
I'm very glad that it seemed like it was a success and we could share it with so many of you guys. And I look forward to doing it all again next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the comments and the views that come after this is done being live.
We'll see what happens.
Because a lot of them will come later too.
I think so. But anyways, thank you guys so much. And we will see you. I was going to say next year, but we'll see you before next year.
Yeah.
Peace.